All right. Welcome to another episode of What Did I Miss with Dennis Styles. On this show, I'll be covering all the stuff not on my main YouTube channel, Ideas Too Smooth, from movies and gaming reviews to movie and gaming news to anime, comic books, and anything else I feel like yapping about. Episodes drop weekly. All right, bro. I literally was recording for a good 7 minutes or so, or probably a little longer than that, but it stopped at 7 minutes and it did not. I didn't get too much into it, but I'm glad I caught it without just yapping. Now I'm just gonna go through the whole show with and probably continuing going forward with a paranoia that this is not recording. So if there's probably gonna be you guys probably won't hear, but there's gonna be random moments where I just pause just to check to see if it's recording, and I'll probably cut that out. But yeah, I guess a quick recap of what I yapped about before I it just stopped recording. I don't know why I did that, to be honest, and now I'm scared. So, oh my gosh, my mic. Hold on. Sorry. I talked about I wanted. Jesus, my mic. Stop moving, buddy. All right, there. I talked about wanting to to shorten the intro, so I'm probably gonna work on that for next week. But I was saying because I don't review a lot of games, it's just super. Just moral of the. I had a whole yap session, so I guess to condense that, with yap insight to not fall into that yap trap. Yap trap. It's just super time consuming, and I don't have a bunch of time to just drop everything and then play a game and games are pretty freaking long now. There's not, I'm trying to think of the last time I played just a solid tight 6-7 hour experience, and now and especially to review a game, and I guess in the way I want to review it, not just give first impressions or whatever. I want to get into the nitty gritty. So you got to put a good amount of time into that, and I just don't have the time to do that. But I still want to talk about games and stuff. But anyways, yap sesh. Let's jump over that yap trap. This week, back to a regular scheduled program. Last week was a longer episode. I was gonna apologize, but I do not apologize. If I want to yap, I'll yap. But yeah, that was just last week. Was just catching up on all the news because if you didn't listen to the last episode, it was pretty long. So I don't fault anyone for not listening. And I don't know. Are there any? I don't even think I really have any returning listeners, consistent listeners. I don't know. I guess my cousin listens to this from time to time. Shout out to him though, for sure. But what was I saying last week? Yeah, just catching up. So this week back to the regular scheduled program with a actual review and stuff. But it's a big week for trailers and a couple first looks on some things, with trailers to come. But this week we got trailers for The Boys season. Sorry, I'm scared. I'm gonna check if it's okay. It's still recording. All right. We got a trailer for The Boys season 4, which is really hype, my boy. So excited to get into that. Last week I talked about it, but I guess it was just a teaser, but an actual trailer for My Adventures with Superman season 2. So they showed a bit more, which, there's some stuff to talk about. So, excited to get into that. Another trailer for Star Wars Acolyte. And I think the first look was a teaser, because this is more story details, and I did know a bit about the story details going in from just reading stuff, but this is actually showing it and stuff like that. So there's some stuff to get into with that, and I said that because I'm not one to watch a bunch of trailers or something. Something will release, or I said something, but a movie would release fucking 6 trailers, 5 first looks in 6 trailers and shit, just overwhelming amount of footage. And I like to try to, even with the challenges, I did this just going completely blind. I didn't know anything about the challenges, and that's why it's such a surprise I didn't say this yet. I said this in the intro that wasn't recorded, but it was a surprise hit for me. But yeah, don't like to watch a bunch of trailers, which kind of I was thinking about throughout the week, kind of contradicts talking about leaks and rumors, and rumors are take all that with a grain of salt, but especially with I guess more so with the Deadpool leaks. I wasn't going out and looking for them and searching up Deadpool leaks and whatever, but it would just pop up on my TL, and I wouldn't shy away from it, which, maybe I should have. And I mean, yeah, I mean, not that serious, but sometimes I'm kind of weird with spoilers. So sometimes I don't want to see any. I just want to go in, like I said, completely blind. And then, you know what's funny about this? I just stepped into another yap trap, but we're just going to keep it pushing. Like, I want to go in completely blind, or then sometimes spoilers make me even more hype for what's, to actually see that thing in motion or learn more context about it and what went into building to that moment or whatever the case. And so, yeah, I guess it's just situational. But like, with Deadpool, I'm pretty good off there's gotten 2 trailers. I'm good. Like, I don't need to see any more. I know they're going to release more. I don't need to see no more. But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, just trailers. And then the last trailer is Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. I was having trouble pronouncing this the first time. Megalopolis. Is that how you pronounce it? But yeah, I don't know if I briefly mentioned it, but I had it on, like, there was like a first look of this before, and I'm not really familiar with this director. Just I know he's really what's it called? There's a better terminology for this, but I'm blanking. Like, just high in the directing community. Like, he's well respected, I guess. But what caught me was the first look was, it was a really like interesting visual with that, but the cast as well that's attached to it. So, well, I mean, we'll get more into that when we talk about the trailer, but the cast looked it's a pretty banger cast. And so that had that's what really put it on my radar, or I guess all those 3 things combined. And then we got rumors galore for the MCU. So a bunch of MCU rumors to get into. And then on the gaming side of things, a major controversy with Sony and Helldivers 2. So yeah, that's pretty disappointing to see. And we'll get to it. And yeah, I don't have any crazy, again, I'm scared, I guess. I gotta see if it's recording. It stopped like at 7:30 last time, so it's about to come up on 7:30. So I'm about to see is it gonna stop right there again? Okay, no. It's keeping going. All right. I don't know why I did that. I'm like very paranoid now. I don't have my mouse. I was gonna call it a mice again. All right. What was I talking about? Oh, Helldivers 2. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was saying. I don't have any like new. I mean, it's been pretty laid out pretty plainly. I don't have any new crazy insight, but I was really enjoying Helldivers. So. Sucks to, yeah. And the main topic for this week, briefly mentioned it, but it's going to be the Challengers. Talking about it's called Challengers, starring Zendaya. This was a really surprise hit for me. Like I said, I went into it without knowing pretty much nothing. Once we get to that review part, we'll get to it. But yeah, surprise hit for me. What was I going to say? I guess got paranoid that I wasn't recording it. I'm sorry. This is going to be a constant theme throughout this episode because, bro, I don't want to just yap and just stop. But yeah, the main topic is talking about Challengers. Really liked it a lot. Surprise hit. So we'll get into it. There will be time codes below, so feel free to jump around to whatever part you want to. If you're new here, usually I have a section before we get into the news called "What Did I Miss?" because I usually miss talking about something from last week, and I don't really have anything for this week. Yeah, so let's just jump right into the news. Gonna check one more time if it's recording. It's recording. All right, we're jumping right into some rumors. For some Marvel rumors. So I think this is all from Daniel Richmond. So again, I guess, but yeah, take all these rumors with a grain of salt. But yeah, Marvel Studios reportedly want their X-Men reboot film to focus on female characters. They also want to introduce characters we haven't seen in live action yet, alongside the original members. Again, from Daniel Richmond. I guess something. What did I miss from last week, bro? And I'm not even sure what's like considered good shorts numbers, like YouTube shorts numbers. But bro, I posted like a YouTube short and it was about Blade. And of course, I expect to get like not necessarily even dumb comments because it's a clip from the podcast that I post. That's what the shorts I'm talking about. So, and I just, take little clips, like clippable moments from the episode like I'll probably do this week or whatever. Like if I go on a funny rant or something like that, or if I have like a interesting idea or some shit, like I'll clip it up, make a edit on that little clip. It's usually from like 20 seconds to a minute long. Edit that, post it on TikTok and YouTube Shorts or whatever, Instagram Reels. But anyways, one of them got a good Blade out of context Blade clip, and not even, I'm saving like in context, it's not even a crazy hot take or anything, but it was just talking about Blade, like what's taking the Blade movie so long, and I just kind of like oversimplified it. Is this gonna be me just fucking explain? Am I gonna like come in like each week explaining each fucking reel that people took out of context? But no, I'm not. It's just this goes into the point of having female characters, potentially highlighting female X-Men characters. What was I saying? Yeah, it was about like, oh, why is Blade taking so long? He's just a black man in some like techno fucking rave ass fits with a gun and a sword, and he's killing vampires. Like, it's that simple. And yeah, you could. It's that simple, and it's not that simple. You got to work him into the universe, yada yada yada. Like, where's vampires been? But that's pretty fucking easy explainable. I think so. I think a while ago in comics, the comics like Authority or something, like they were trying to censor comics and didn't want vampires and monsters and stuff to be in. I don't know if it's like if this was like an umbrella thing, like affecting like DC and other, I don't know, other comics and whatnot, but for sure Marvel. And so they couldn't have like monsters and talk about drugs and vampires and whatnot in their stories. It's like it was a heavy censoring, and eventually got overturned from like a Spider-Man story that features drugs. See, whatever, just looking at it if you wanted to know. But the vampires and shit were a part of the Marvel universe when it first started, and then when this thing happened, what am I talking about? Why am I talking about this? Why? Hold on, I just lost the plot hard as shit. Why am I talking about this? I know we're talking about like Blade and like the clip out of context, but why am I talking about the censoring of Jesus? Oh yeah, I was talking about like how the clips out of context and why. I remember now. sorry. So they had to bring vampires back because they were there and then they weren't, and it was like someone cast a spell that like banished like all vampires, and then when the ban lifted or whatever, there was like, okay, someone broke the spell and all the vampires that were banished from the universe and like ceased to exist, now they exist again. Boom. Do that in the MCU. Fucking that's where Blade went or whatever. Like I don't know. I feel like it's fairly simple. I've seen someone comment like on the video, like, or one of the postings, fucking they're vampires. They lay low for a bit. Boom. Okay. Bam. Like, it's not that hard. But anyways, people were just being so weirdly misogynistic, like that weird like woke shit, like and I'll get to it. Like, oh, if Blade's not a black lesbian, like they're not gonna put effort into it, or just saying like weird shit like that. And I get it, and I don't get it, because yes, these like movies, they have a checklist to hit, like to add a certain amount of, and it's all performative in a way, like. It's a weird dance. That's the way I could put it. Like, yes, it's performative to add like, purposely add gay people and shit like that in. But it's like it's they're checking a box, but they're checking a box in a way that provides actual opportunity for this stuff to be shown on screen. So it's like it's quote unquote forced in. But then he's just like, this type of stuff just exists anyway, so it should already be in. So it's just like a weird dance of, like getting these quote unquote woke people getting what they want. And then, now it's stepping onto the people. Now, but look, but it's done in ways that's forced in and doesn't feel natural. And so it's like, and it's kind of in ways, not even, maybe there's instances, but I was gonna say like, not even in ways that like detracts from the story, but it's just like, oh, it's right there in your face. Look at this. Oh my God, look at this. We're being so progressive and inclusive. And again, that stuff should be shown anyway, but it's just like, there's bad examples. There's examples of being doing it bad and feeling it forced in, and there's good examples of it just being ingrained in the story and just feeling like, and just being like nonchalant. It's like whatever. I guess it's hard to. There, I'm kind of just blanking on a bad example, but I guess a good one would be Eli Page when they transitioned from Ellen Page to Eli Page. That was like something that was, and that's an actor, and then they were playing a character in the show called Umbrella Academy on Netflix. It's a pretty good show. You should check it out. It kind of gets some seasons are clearly better than others, but I feel like overall it's pretty solid. But anyways, that character started out female in the show, and then that person transitioned in real life, and it was kind of like, okay, how do we address this? And they just did it super well in the show. It was just kind of not even a main point, and there is like value, I think. And again, I'm probably not the best person to speak on this, but like I feel like there is value in making it a main point, but then there's also value in like treating it in a nonchalant, not even like, I guess nonchalant's the right, that's not the right word, but just from lack of a better term, just like, the characters are just like nonchalant with it, and it's just something it's I guess a normalization, that feeling, I guess, and it just works well. And I just feel like, this was about X-Men. Let me get back to that. All right, I will. But it just, I don't know. It's just it's a weird, I guess acknowledging it's a weird and the people who are like complaining about the woke shit, they're not valid anyway. I don't want to get that misconstrued. The only like valid complaint I see in that is just it being like forcefully like progressive, and you can see that. Like, an argument is like saying incorporate it better in the story. That's like the only way I can see an argument being made. Like, people complaining that it's in the movies, that's not valid. Because like I said, these are just people that exist. Like, and when people say like woke shit is just like seeing a black person on screen. Oh, okay. All right. And then seeing like a gay person on screen. All right. So that's just, it's like they're considering like simple shit woke. But again, I see like, and that also goes into like, gender swapping characters and whatnot. And I explained this before. Actually, I don't want to get into that whole point. Not gender fucking swapping, like race swapping. I keep reaching for my mouse and it's not there. It's kind of pissing me off. But anyways, yeah, I got a lot of weird fucking woke fucking comments, and yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. So that's gonna be kind of, and I don't really know how to police that. Like, yeah, I could, like, is it even, I don't know, and I guess, yeah, thinking. But anyways, I guess going back to the X-Men. God damn, that was a crazy rant. People are gonna be weird about this highlighting female characters, but I like that. I think there's a lot of characters that didn't get their proper shine in the live action movies, and I guess that's the beauty of X-Men 97. And I will be reviewing that show, liking it a lot. It's just really highlighting a lot of X-Men properly, and it's not perfect, but yeah. And there's a lot of, and they didn't even do the female characters justice that were in the live action movies. Like Storm, like she's a fucking omega level mutant. Like we didn't get not even a lick of that in the X-Men movies. Like let's see some of that. Like Jean, like we did kind of see it with like, they did Phoenix Force like twice basically. We did kind of see that. I mean, but it's just like, I don't know. There's just more, and who else is just like, but even like Iceman though, just he's an omega level mutant. Like let's see more of that. But yeah, I don't have a problem with this at all. I mean, it's like, who cares? This is like, let's just get a good movie. Like if it's bad, I guess that's the motto on the show. Like if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. But I don't see like there's just a lot of cool female characters on the X-Men. I mean, there's a lot of cool female characters in general, so it's like, let's just see what they do, to be honest. And then them highlighting more, and then they say alongside the original members, so it's like, it's not like we're not going to see, classics there. And it says highlighting characters we haven't seen, and so, that's not all female characters either. Who would I like to see highlighted? I want to see Jubilee more highlighted, or she was barely in, what is it, like a Dark Phoenix? Is that what she is? Who she's in? And they got a really good actor for her as well, or actress for her. They didn't really do anything with her. Jubilee would be cool to see highlighted. Like I said, I want to see more of Iceman and see what he can do in live action. And some pretty crazy feats in the comics. Who else? Who else? Who's like a more mm, hmm. Of course, Nightcrawler. Like we did get a bit of him actually in a couple movies. But I just want to see more Nightcrawler. He's fucking cool as shit. Let's see. Hmm. Bro, fuck it, bro. Throw X-23 on the team. I'm trying to see more of her. No cap. Um, she's probably been a part of the X-Men at some point. I don't. That's not surprising. Is Emma Frost? Has she been a part of the X-Men? Like, let's see some of her. I feel like they did some really cool things with her in First Class. Let's see. Who's cool? That's like a simplification of it. Who's cool? Who's cool to see on screen? Mm, Forge. I feel like that would be cool to see on screen. Mm, did we see? No, we see. Yeah, we seen Bishop. We saw Bishop in Days of Futures Past, right? Fook. I really want to see Magic. I want to see her. I want to see her a lot. I didn't know that. Like, maybe I seen it and just forgot. But she's related to Colossus. Is that his sister or cousin? Yeah, so I think they're related. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to see more of Magic. She has a pretty cool power set. So yeah, so some more X-Men rumors. So Marvel Studios, this is from Daniel Richmond. Marvel Studios is reportedly looking for a writer who can handle both comedy and drama for their upcoming X-Men reboot film. It seems like they don't want the film to be purely comedic. Yeah, this is, I feel like, perfect for X-Men. From what I've been learning from the X-Men community, especially with like X-Men 97 coming out and just reading X-Men comics on my own. Haven't read a whole lot, and honestly, there's stuff I read is probably not the best, because I've been reading some Ultimate X-Men and that's not the best representation of them. But just, I feel like that kind of like the bickering, and it just, they're super melodramatic and fucking, and there's funny interactions with the team. So I definitely see the angle that they're going with, trying to go with this angle, like, of balancing the comedic with the drama, and definitely it should really more lean to the drama side, and the comedic shit should be definitely like a afterthought. Like, it should be a naturally reoccurring thing from situations, and not like, they're just trying to bust some quick one-liner jokes or whatever. And not to say, like, if they did do that, that would be bad. But yeah. Yeah, so that's the X-Men stuff. I kind of went on a crazy yapset, so I will skip this. It was nothing serious. Mole Man. All right, let's see. So some Fantastic Four casting and rumors. So Paul Walter Hauser has been cast in an unknown role in the Fantastic Four, and this is from the Insider, which is a pretty reliable rumor source, I would say. But again, still take it with a grain of salt. I think the casting, that's pretty locked in. Just they don't know what roles for. But Mole Man will reportedly make an appearance in the Fantastic Four. It is currently unknown who will be playing him. So when they said this guy Paul Walter Hauser, he looks familiar. I know he's definitely popped up in some stuff that I've seen. And I was like, who could he play? And I was thinking, like, because they said they wanted a comedic actor or did they say comedian or comedic actor? But they wanted one of those two for Herbie the Robot. And so I was like, could he be playing be the voice of Herbie? He's in the Black Klansman. He's in more things, but this is stuff I've seen. Black Klansman. He's in the Defy Bloods. I haven't seen the whole thing of that. So, okay. So he seems to be in a bunch of stuff that I've seen, but he just has one of those faces where it's like I'm probably getting him confused with someone else, but he looks like he's been in a lot of stuff I've seen. But I could see him as a pretty good Mole Man, though. That's where that link was, at least that I made. So he could be playing Mole Man, which I mean, one I think is just coolish. I've been wanting to see Mole because Mole Man in live action for a while. I think he's just a pretty goofy character, and I think he has more some quite a few like actual sinister moments in the comics. So excited to get to that whenever I start reading the Fantastic Four or whatever. But you got goofy like parodies of him in like The Incredibles, which is already a parody of the Fantastic Four already, with the Underminer. I just wanted to see him in live action, just show the rogues gallery. I feel like the Fantastic Four has a pretty, not maybe like super popular or significant. Galactus is pretty significant, but I feel like they have a pretty decent rogues gallery. So maybe the movie will start out like they're already established fighting Mole Man, random encounter. That would be fun. I think that's how Incredibles 2 starts out, right? Because it picks up directly after the first one. I think so. But random encounter with Mole Man and just stuff like that. I just thought this would be really, really fun if Mole Man's in the Fantastic Four. So pretty pumped about that if that is true. So a bunch of Deadpool stuff. So I was talking about Deadpool last week. They were doing some reshoots, and I was like, it could be various reasons. It could be bad, like, oh, they're not happy with the story and trying to fucking try to fix the story, which doesn't usually ends up a good end product. It feels like usually feels all jumbled up and disjointed and confusing and whatnot. That's not always the case, but it's not a good sign to be doing story like reshoots. But then I also said it could be for more cameos, and that seems to be the case. So this is from Daniel Richmond. He says they seem to be fine with the story, satisfied with it, and won't be changing anything. But the reshoots are mostly about adding more cameos. So I guess if that is true, that puts people at ease. I'm not really invested in this. I don't know why I said invested like that. I'm not really invested in this movie to be fucking great fucking storytelling. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and yeah, I should expect that. I do want that, but it's just like, going off the first two Deadpool movies, I wasn't really blown away narratively by them. I still enjoyed them a lot, for sure, but so it's like going in with the same mindset of this one, not trying to expect too much, and I feel like that's really easy to do with this type of movie. Seeing fucking Hugh Jackman actually be with other Marvel characters and whatnot. So trying to keep the expectations low. Don't want to go into with too much of a big head or whatever the case. But I guess there's been some rumblings that Josh Brolin, he's been saying like, oh, he's not in Deadpool and Wolverine, and he doesn't know why and whatever. So no, that could be if he's actually not in the movie, and that's not him just capping about it, trying to keep it under wraps. This could be one of the things. Fly him in for a couple days or whatever, get him in the cable, get up and shoot a quick cameo, throw that in, and there's been some. There's fucking endless cameos, and as this has been building hype and everyone's getting on board, maybe some people who weren't down to return maybe change their mind, and as they see like how like hyped the fans are, or they see who the fans are hyped for, and they try to get those cameos based off that. And so I don't know, any one numerous of those one of those things, and so it's just going to be interesting to see who I guess I was gonna say I don't want to go into this movie seeing a cameo fest, but it's like, if you're gonna do it in any movie, like this is the movie to do that in, right? This and like Secret Wars, and then I guess also it begs the question: what are they gonna want to save for Secret Wars, or the big multiversal crossover? Like, are they gonna want to fucking bring back the OG fucking early 2000 Fantastic Four for this, real quick, or do they want to save, which would be cool? Or do they want to save a big reveal for that for Secret Wars? Because if you do that in this, and then you do that in, and you do that in, I'm gonna say something after this, and then you do that in Secret Wars, that kind of takes some of the oh my goodness factor from it. But I feel like if you kind of show them briefly in Deadpool, like, oh shit, it was a look at them, and then you don't like, it's just like a quick cameo, and then in Secret Wars they have like an actual, like, I don't know, quick action scene. I feel like there's that about it, but yeah. So it's like I just thought this just dawned on me. So I feel like that's something to take into consideration when thinking about cameos for this movie. Let's see. Oh, there's a bunch of some stuff with Kevin Feige. He says he was talking to, I think, Empire magazine or something. Sorry. But he said he wasn't sure how to incorporate Deadpool into the MCU, and like he was like initially against it, or a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. He was this is a quote from him. I was very much thinking about how to bring mutants and the X-Men into the MCU, and I thought it needed to be more than just playing the hits, so cameo fest. But the truth is Ryan is an idea machine. Yeah, there's like a something, I guess, like another like interview with Ryan Reynolds or something, or it was Kevin Feige talking about Ryan Reynolds something. But apparently Ryan Reynolds had a bunch of ideas for Deadpool, like 25 ideas, and one of them, which I'll probably get into a little bit more later. What time are we at right now? 32 minutes. And where are we at on the news? We're still pretty early in the news, no cap, and there's quite a bit to talk about. So I don't know if I'll get to it. But he was talking about, he had an idea for like a $10 million Deadpool movie, like a Sundance type of thing. So like super low budget, probably minimal locations, or, you know, and that's like, I think that is cool to, okay, let me wrap up this Kevin Feige thing. Yeah, so he just didn't really know where to fit Deadpool in, and I guess that's like, and he was telling Hugh Jackman, don't come back for like Wolverine for Deadpool or something. Like, don't want to ruin your send off with Logan. And yeah, there's some value in that, but it's just like, bro, you're getting Hugh Jackman being able to play with the other Marvel characters, and probably I sound like a little kid just wanting to see his action figures see Spider-Man play with Superman or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like that's something the fans wanted for so long, to have some type of crossover. Like, there was supposed to be an X-Men like Spider-Man crossover. There was like some rumblings with the Fantastic Four crossing over with the X-Men. So it's just like, we just been wanting to see this Hugh Jackman play with the stars type shit. So yeah, bro. I just, yeah, it is a little, you know, a bit a grown up playing with his action figures, but fuck it, bro. Like I said, if this is the movie to do that type of shit in, let's just do it, you know. Let's see. What I was talking about, Kevin Feige, yeah. So yeah, Ryan Reynolds is the idea machine. So like the Sundance thing, I feel like eventually we will get something like that, super low budget superhero thing, because just the superheroes just like superheroes became their own genre. So there just could be, you can have a superhero western, you can have a horror movie superhero movie, you can have a fucking heist superhero movie, you can have a fucking like a sitcom type vibe superhero show. Like, there's just so much, like a romance like superhero movie. Like, there's just so much you could do, and and especially now, I feel like, you know, what point did I hear about? I think it is something like so the thing I was talking about earlier, I was like, maybe we'll get to it. It's like the Russo brothers, you know, who did Infinity War and Endgame and Winter Soldier and maybe some other stuff. But they were just talking about this, you know, state of superhero movies and stuff, and just they mentioned like westerns have been around for decades and stuff, and then just like they had to evolve and turn into like different things before, you know, they're not like super big now, but before they really like teetered out. And so superhero the genre is, if you like think about it in that sense, it's still fairly new. Like, we haven't, like, it's, you know, we've gotten superhero movies here and there, but like as a genre, and we'll say like starting with the MCU, that's only like 2008. Like, that's 10 years to 2018. Fucking trying to do quick maths, failing. 4 more years, 2022. That's 14 years. So it's like only like not even been 20 years yet. So it still has room to grow, evolve, and turn into different stuff. And I hope we do see a fucking, you know, probably not Deadpool, but of $10 million, like highly artistic, you know, project, a superhero project of some sort, a character that fits that mold, or, you know, doing something like that. So Hopefully we do get that. Yeah, I don't really care about that Deadpool news. Ben Affleck has been reportedly been in talks to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is from Daniel Richmond. Who could we fucking Ben Affleck play? I don't know. And then also though, it says join though. It doesn't say. So then also it says Ben Affleck won't return as Daredevil, but there's another role he's been offered. So I mean, I guess this kind of puts to bed what I was gonna say earlier, because I was gonna say he's a director too, so it's like, and a writer, so it's like, oh, he can, direct or write something. Doesn't necessarily have to be an acting role, but yeah, my initial thought when I was like seeing Ben Affleck's name, we're gonna bring him back for like Deadpool 3 and have because he played Daredevil in like the early 2000s, one of the early 2000s superhero movies, and I haven't seen that movie actually. I hear mixed things throughout the years, and so maybe it's something I'll check out. But who could Ben Affleck play? I feel like I don't know why my mind's like wandering towards like a cosmic character. I feel like he would play a decent cosmic character. I don't know who, but that's where my mind's wandering to. But some more casting stuff for the Marvel MCU. Giancarlo, how do you pronounce his name? Giancarlo Esposito. Gus from Breaking Bad, various other things. Really great actor, who I think gets typecast. He kind of plays the same roles, which he's good at. And I've seen like clips of him playing, drastically different roles, and I think he is very good. And that makes me want to go. I need to go watch some movies where he's not playing, a fucking a meth kingpin, and then in Star Wars playing a meth kingpin in disguise as a space dictator. But anyways, he's been cast in a secret MCU project. It will be announced soon. And he says it's better than you can imagine, and he says it's sooner rather than later. And then also he said it's an original and new character. And someone on Twitter said, random government antagonist character in the Thunderbolts. Let's go. So yeah, he got fan cast for Professor X a while ago, and I didn't mind that. Some people were throwing up Denzel for Magneto, which is on the surface good casting, but it should be someone of that's actually Jewish, because that's a big part of his character. And but yeah, I mean I didn't really mind him as Giancarlo as Professor X, but I was like there's probably something else. And would that be? I feel like that would be a good change of what he's usually in, playing the villainous role. But a random, it wouldn't be surprising if he's like a random government official in like Thunderbolts or some shit, which would be a waste of his character. I mean, it could be high potentially, but if it could be fucking a knocked out the park. There's a couple MCU made characters that have been some sleeper or some that have been some hits, like Luis in the Ant-Man movies. Like I don't think he's like a comic character. He's been a standout. I think Moon Knight, the Scarlet. I don't think like the character, the Scarlet, whatever, Scarab or something, is a new hero, but like her character, the character that turns into that, is a new character, and I think they made an appearance in the comics. Who are some? Oh, is Phil Coulson? Is he an MCU original? I feel like he is. So there's been some standouts, so that could be a hit. But someone said though, credits reveal his character, the last name is Stryker. That would be him as Stryker would actually be some fire shit right there, and like have him being dealing with Wolverine and Weapon X and shit. That would be fucking lit. And Stryker has changed his race. He was like black, and he was like a fat black guy in X-Men 3. And then he was was he? No, that was Trask. Because I was like, was he fucking Peter Dinklage in Days of Future Past? But no, I think that was Trask. No, I think Trask was the flat black guy, and then he was Peter Dinklage. But the actor for Stryker's changed throughout the movies, but him as Stryker would be fucking fire. Or even just some like high level, and I just said like it'd be trying to ask if he was just some generic government official. But if he's like a high level Weapon X like scientist or whatever, one of the main guys pulling the strings on that would be really pretty fun. And so yeah, I really like that Stryker thing, or just being involved with Weapon X in some capacity. But yeah, I really would want to see him spread his wings. But honestly, I was gonna say for the MCU, play like a different role than his standard role. But I would want to get that in some other movie. Like if you're gonna use him to his fucking. I guess I really can't even say. What's I saying? Jesus, Friday, almost choked to death. Oh, nothing. Like Jesus, there's tears in my eyes. All the shit's fuck, bro. Going through it. But I was gonna say, yeah, if you're gonna use him, might as well use him. I was gonna say like, oh, that's what I was saying. I can't even say that's like to his best of his acting ability. Playing characters like Gus and whatnot, because haven't really seen him in other stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, just use him what he's really known for. I feel like that would be the best bet. I mean, but that I guess that's like putting him in a box. But do whatever. But I don't know. I would just want to see him at his what I know him best for. I guess that's I'm just putting my own bias on it. But anyways, let's move on. So some X-Men 97 spoilers real quick. You probably there's some major character cameos if you already know. So I'm just saying that. So if you already know, you don't have to skip ahead. But if you don't know, just skip ahead a couple minutes, I guess. But yeah, some X-Men 97 spoilers starting now. So there were some major characters revealed. And there's some villains rollers like Baron Zemo, Doctor Doom. But the big one was Spider-Man. The Spider-Man. So yeah, he was, and it was actually the one from the old 90s animated show. They confirmed it. So, and then the voice actor Christopher Daniel Barnes, he said if they asked him to come back, he wouldn't hesitate. And he said, let's hope. So, yeah, with the huge success of the X-Men 97, I think it's not outside of the realm of possibility to see Spider-Man make a return, which I would be down to see. Again, I always bring it up. I don't know where the animated show ended in the Spider-Man show, but I don't know, man. Fuck it, bring it back. Let's see what they do. And if it's us, we still got the old one, and we can act like the new one doesn't exist. But yeah, he's down for it, and then I just feel like it's a kind of a no-brainer for them. But there is value of not touching stuff that's already been wrapped up and whatnot, or already, whatever the case. But we'll just leave it where it's at. But hey, I would be down. Fuck it, let's get it. So with the fucking Raimi, all the 3 Raimi movies releasing in the US at select theaters, made a huge, I don't know. I honestly don't know if this is good numbers, but the whole run made about like 3.1 million. And I was saying like there's possibly $5 tickets, a couple people at 10, but regardless, it wasn't the same price of a new movie ticket. And it was only in some places only on Monday. Mine was having showings from Monday to Thursday, but it was all like in the evening, so it was still even limited times. And so, but basically, so I don't know if 3 million is good, but also it's a 20-year-old movie, which you can easily watch at home or whatever the case. And so I don't know. I think that's pretty good. But anyways, it's also coming to the UK in August at Odeon Cinemas. So I don't know if that's a chain or it's just one specific, but it might be a chain. Tickets aren't on sale yet, but the dates are August 2nd, August 9th, and the 16th. And I don't think there's any word on any of the other I'm gonna say trilogies, but other Spider-Man movies like Amazing Spider-Man and the Homecoming trilogy. So only word, it's just cool to see like this coming back. This piece of news I think is kind of funny, sad and funny. Chris Hemsworth says he still can't forgive himself for Thor: Love and Thunder. I got caught up in their improv and wackiness, and I became a parody of myself and didn't stick the landing. And so he like basically goes to said in this article with Vanity Fair, he feels like he owes the fans another Thor, and yeah, I mean like fucking doesn't owe fans anything. Yeah, cool. I really like that he feels this way about the character and how like he's in the characters. I really like to see when actors do get this way about characters. I feel like it just adds another layer to the performance and whatnot. But I just think it's kind of funny just how, not funny per se, because it's I don't want to laugh at a man suffering, but It's funny how how hard he's taking it. Like, damn, like this is really eating up him up inside. Like he's laying down at night thinking about how bad Thor: Love and Thunder is. And I don't necessarily think that. I mean, that movie is bad, but there's some good stuff in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like from what we see of Gore, I feel like the performance from Christian Bale. I don't know why that was sounding weird, but I feel like that from what we seen, he was good. We definitely could have done more with him, but from what we seen was all right. I really like some of the visuals in it. It is. I feel like it is goofy and it is funny in a sense, but it just is too goofy and just not the right direction to take the Thor's character. I mean, I've probably talked about this before, but yeah, and the stuff with Jane though was actually like really good. That like should have been the movie without Gore. Like it should have been just about Thor and Jane. I feel like, or just do one or the other. Like either just about Gore or fucking, or I just feel like it could have incorporated, the storyline a bit more. But yeah, I don't feel like it was where they should have taken the character. But he just basically goes to say like, yeah, basically what the fuck I said. Like he just feels like he owes the fans another Thor. And I guess my main reason to bring this up is just kind of speculate what Thor 4, I guess in my opinion, should look like. I just feel like they had Thor in the golden spot with, Infinity War, the end game, and just how, Infinity War, how broken he was, and just his journey through in Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like I think Robert Downey Jr. goes to say in this article, like that was a great hat trick. Like, that was a great three movie run right there with the character of Thor. I feel like they had that was a great arc, and then they had just the good setup to capitalize on that, and they just kind of dropped the ball on that. And then Thor 4, and it was a bit about that, but it should have been really about Thor finding his place in the in the universe, and just not how it should have been really hyper focused on that in Jane, in my opinion, or just Jane and Thor, because I feel like either or one of those narratives there is a good way to tell that story with Thor, with those those characters, those outside characters, dealing with like the godhood, like passing that on to Jane as well, and like maybe you step into some unworthy Thor or some shit. I don't know, bro. But there's just so much to play with there, and there's kind of just doing both at the same time just shot themselves in the foot. Like there's just too much on the plate. But what was I saying? But yeah, they just had a great setup, and so Thor 4 should definitely be. I think they should just go super, and this is not a new thought as well. I've seen this floating around, but they should just go super Viking gritty again. Maybe tap into some with them. But it's hard to go back to there, because he kind of built himself up to feel worthy again with the stuff in Endgame and stuff. So it's like, damn, could you go back to an unworthy Thor? But you don't necessarily have to do that. Ooh, fuck yeah, bro. Bring some Beta Ray Bill in, bro. Bring Beta Ray Bill in. Have maybe some head butting there between Thor and Beta Ray Bill. Maybe, I don't know, just do something with them. I just feel like that would be a good incorporation with Thor 4. Yeah, that would be really fun. Just make it a super gritty Beta Ray Bill Thor movie. Maybe they're fighting. There was some like stuff with Zeus and Hercules. Maybe they're fighting Hercules or something. Fighting Hercules and Zeus. I don't know. Just do something cool with Beta Ray Bill. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's cool that he feels this way about the character, but he doesn't owe the fans anything, to be honest. And speaking of this Thor talk, there's some funny comic stuff right now. I'll get more into it, but the comics are making fun of MCU Thor right now. So yeah, we'll we'll get to that when we get to the comic stuff. So there was some first look at Captain America in his new suit. This is funny because it's like you give him this new suit that like kind of looks like Steve Rogers or whatever, but then you gave him a new suit at the end of his show where he got the shield. And I hope this movie isn't just Sam earning the shield all over again, because it was like, what was the point of the show that introduced him in the first place of being Captain America? But it's like you get this cool ass suit in this show, and then you just replace it for like a carbon copy of what's it called, the old Captain America's. So it's just like that. This feels kind of redundant, but maybe I hope there's just like a genuine good story reason for it. But there was also some leaked promo art from the Red Hulk, and I was gonna put like a spoiler warning on this, but fucking surprise, surprise, it looks like the fucking Hulk but red. So yeah, there's nothing really there. So yeah, like I said, there was a couple first looks at some things. Before we get into the trailers, these next two things, they just are some interesting premise, have some interesting ideas, so I will be keeping eyes on these as they develop. But the first one is the first look at Paul Feig's Jackpot, starring John Cena, Aquafina, and Simi Lu. The film follows a woman who accidentally wins the lottery in a world where others can legally seize the ticket and its prize if they kill the winner by sundown. So yeah, this was just an interesting premise. This just sounds like some lottery ticket. If you know that movie with fucking Bow Wow and Brandon T. Jackson, and mixed with some Purge. So this just seems like a fun time. And there's some good screenshots of it, or some like funny first looks of like John Cena and stuff like that. So yeah, it just seems like a more lighthearted take on Purge, something like Purge. So yeah, we're gonna keep eyes on this. Not saying it's gonna any of these will be good, but it's gonna be interesting to see them develop and see their trailers when they drop. So yeah, we actually have a rumor. It's from Daniel to Richmond. A new a new Men in Black film is reportedly in the works at Sony Pictures. Yeah, I mean, the Men in Black series is pretty all the way solid to me. I know like some people were some shaky on 3, but but 3 is like the one I've watched the most. That was like, it's funny. Like I grew up with the the third in trilogies, like Spider-Man 3. Like that was what 2007, 2008, right when I was getting into like developing a worthwhile consciousness and like watching stuff in movies and whatnot. And so like getting into that, and then Men in Black, like Men in Black 3 was like around then 2012, like, you know, like so I really like Men in Black 3, so I really like the series. And with it, and there was Men in Black International, which was not good from what I heard, but then I recently saw like this clip on Twitter, and it was like this really cool effect of like these aliens, like they were using, from what I seen, it just looked like they were using humans as like their vessels, but like there were these like space entities, like their forms looked like the galaxy, and they just had like 2 glowing eyes. It was a really, and like they burst out of like the human bodies and turned into those entities I just described. It was a really cool effect, and I almost watched it just to see that, but then someone was like, yeah, this is like probably the best effect in the movie. So I was like, all right, I've probably seen all I needed to see with that. But yeah, it wasn't, from what I've heard, wasn't that good. It was with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. I think this came off right off the back of Thor Ragnarok, so they were riding high on that duo, which is not a bad duo, but I mean, I can't really, I don't know what was the problems with that movie. But yeah, I mean, I'm open to see another Men in Black. So I guess the question would be, I think Tommy Lee Jones is retired. Is Will Smith coming back or what? Or is it going to be original story? But so with 22 Jump Street, the sequel to 21 Jump Street, at the end of the movie, they did like a bunch of like, so basically the premise of that movie is like they go undercover. In the first movie, they go undercover to high school, and the second one, they go undercover to college. And then like at the end of the second movie, there's like the end credit scene, and then there's like 23 Jump Street, and they go undercover at a fucking cooking school, in 24 Jump Street, and they're undercover at a fucking church playing deacons or as nuns or something, or 20 fucking 8 Jump Street, and they're, you know, just go undercover at like a fucking, I don't know, just some goofy shit. And it was a pretty funny gag. And I don't know, like, you know, going through those 20 Jump Street, 20 or, you know, Jump Street like scenarios, did they show a Men in Black one, or was it something after where they like speculated, or they were like said in the script that there was an idea for one to do one with Men in Black? Yeah, but anyways, I couldn't find it. I was looking for it really quick. But anyways, there were some rumblings with 21 Jump Street X Men in Black, which I think is a really cool premise. And them just thinking about Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum going undercover to, I don't know, maybe infiltrate the Men in Black, or would they be hired by the Men in Black to infiltrate like some alien fucking division or like some shit. Like I don't know. It's just a very very funny idea, and apparently there was a script floating around, and apparently it was a really funny script, and they just nailed the premise. I don't know too much solid on that, but there was definitely some rumblings of Men in Black X 21 Jump Street. So in my opinion, that's the route they should go. You can bring back Will Smith if you want, new classic characters. I feel like there's just something very funny to play with there. So Percy Jackson in the Olympian season 2 is expected to begin filming this fall. Like I said, when I reviewed the show of the first season, these kids aren't going to be kids forever, so just gotta get the ball rolling on the next season. And so it seems to. I was moving my mic when I said that, so my bad. But it seems like they're getting the ball rolling on this next season as soon as possible, which is cool. Speaking of Percy Jackson, I did not know that there is because this was from what is it called? A blog post by Rick Rodin. Rodin. I don't know why I can't pronounce anyone's name this week. There's some sequel Percy Jackson books that I didn't know about, like after the Sun and Neptune and whatever came after that. There's some new ones, so might actually get into those. And then a couple more things before we get into the trailers. The Maze Runner reboot. I didn't know about this. I'm not sure, but they say it will not be a redo of the story, nor is it a direct sequel to the original trilogy. The hope is to make a sort of continuation of the story, yet to also return to the elements that made the first film connect with its audience. I'm excited to see the Maze Runner again, but I don't know what the fuck that statement meant. That is confusing as shit. So I guess we'll just see where more of this develops into. But I think the first one's just the first movie is the best one. So, at least from an intrigue wise, I don't think I've seen the last one actually. I think I've just seen the first two. I think there's 3 of them, but I really, really like the first one. But I like the continuation of the story in the other ones. But I just feel like intrigue wise and just like the way shit was going, I feel like the first one is the strongest. So them trying to get back to the roots of the first one, that is good statement in itself. But it's just like confusing on what like. There's just like a crazy dance around like what the fuck. We'll see where that develops into. But yeah, that Maze Runner is based off some books. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Same with Percy Jackson. Exhibit teases the return of Pimp My Ride. This is fucking lit. If you know, you know. So we'll see. I'm definitely gonna watch that with my shorty. So we'll see more on that. Hopefully they release the trailer soon. Pimp My Ride is it's a funny fucking show. And then Boondocks doing the parody version of it, like that was funny. That was a funny ass episode. Pimp My Ride's just a classic. So I'm just trying to like get to these trailers because we've been yapping, and we still got the gaming stuff to get into, and then we got the challengers to talk about. So I'm just gonna get through that. I'm trying to get through that. So the first trailer though up is the trailer for The Boys season 4, and hey, could this be the best season yet? Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, this trailer just seems like shit's just going down, bro. And I hope The Boys ends soon. Like it really cannot sustain more than, this season and one more. Like they're just at that point they're just gonna be dragging it. And where the story is developed, if you haven't seen The Boys though, go watch The Boys if you're into superhero stuff. I would be surprised if you haven't heard about The Boys yet and you are into superhero stuff. But if you haven't watched it, go fucking watch it and watch it in V. Great stuff. And I'm saying that because I'm probably gonna, to talk about this trailer, it's the season 4 for a show, so I'm probably gonna have to spoil Gen V and the previous seasons of The Boys. So spoilers for those, so be warned. But yeah, this trailer just looks like some shit's going down. We get some more stuff with, I don't know. This is definitely not from season 3, right? Maybe it is. But you get Ryan picking Homelander over Butcher. Hold on, is this coming through my headphones? What's going on? Okay, there we go. Basically, Butcher is fucking about to be brain dead, so he doesn't have much time left from taking the, what was it called? I don't even know what it was called, but it was the the V serum or whatever to give Supes their powers, but it's basically liquefying his brain. And so is that the case? So it really only says, but I think also didn't Huey take some to possibly took the round over the amount of dosage to be irreversible, so his brain is cooked too. So I think all the boys members are pretty cooked, who are on the Gen V stuff. Not Gen V, but you know what I mean. What's that shit called? I know it has a name, but yeah, Homelander, he's pretty cooked, not much time left. And it seems like the main gist I got from the trailer though is it seems like Homelander, they're really gearing up to start fucking up the world and damn near, putting humans in concentration camps and shit. And that's where it seems like this season's gearing up to, and like wherever this season leaves off, I feel like next season would be them trying to act on that. I feel like this season's gonna be setting the stage for that. Fucking the Deep fucking mashes someone's head in. It looks as gory as ever. Shocking faces. Oh, we also see Kate in I forgot his name, but he was Golden Boy's brother. They're on the 7th. So I really like how, hold on, I just got the paranoia that I wasn't recording anymore. It's recording still. I really like how, and this argument can be made that this is bad, but I really like how how intertwined Gen V is with the storyline of the boys. Like I feel like it would have been very easy to just like kind of keep that separate of what's happening in the boys, and just try to run the distance with your own thing with Gen V. But I like how intertwined this is. Like you can't even, like, the events of Gen V literally feed into the season 4 of the boys. And I know they said that was the case, but I don't know. I just really, and it's like, oh, you got to watch this show to watch this show. Yeah, that could get a bit of annoying, but it would be more of a problem if Gen V wasn't good, But so yeah, the Deep took like off a mat, like a black sack off someone's head, like he was kidnapping them and holding them hostage. Oh, we get a peek at Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. He says the whole world's about to burn. Yeah, so he says he needs someone like Billy to help him out before the Soup start rounding them up and throwing them in camps. And so yeah, this season, I think Gen V did end off with Billy finding the base of this of the virus that was created in Gen V to kill, that infects Soups and kills them. And Carl Urban just has this crazy fucking look in his eyes as Butcher, bro. He's so good at as Billy the Butcher. Yeah, so it seems like they're just very backed into a corner in this season, which, I mean, fuck, that's every season, to be honest. They're always playing off the back foot. Get a look at Noir and Billy fighting. Oh, who was that fighting? The Deep versus Starlight? Yeah. So it just seems, bro, we're turning up, bro. We're turning up. Oh, that was the funny thing in this trailer. There was some, what is the serum called? Like, it's actually pissing me off. But the serum to give the Soups their powers, it looks like some barn animals get infected with, from this. And so there was like a chicken fucking blowing a hole in someone's body, and Frenchie and MM shooting at the chicken, and he's just bulletproof. And there was some flying, some pigs? Well, hold on. I will see in a second. Yeah, we're seeing, blood and gore galore. Not new for the boys. So this part. So it looks like Kamiko, she kills someone, and like instead of blood splurting out their head, it's bubbles, and there's a bunch of like rubber duckies and toy boats floating around. So, and we saw, was it last season or the season before? We saw like some perspective from, I guess, the old Noir. It wouldn't be the same one, right? Because I was gonna say of the Noir that got killed, and like how he sees like animals and stuff around him. Oh, hold on, I'm making a crazy connection. Let me finish this thought though. He sees like little animals and stuff talking around him, like he lives in a different like kind of reality type shit. Not like literally, but you know what I mean. Like he sees stuff that's not there. And I saw someone float up idea that like Sam could be the new Noir, possibly, because he's just super strong. He basically is like, he has the noir power type. And then he also he sees things that aren't there. There was some stuff in Gen V, so like I just like fits right up that alley. So we could possibly be seeing that. Um, yeah, and then Huey talks about like he's saying like it's insane that their solution to every problem is murder. But murder isn't brave. We got some Billy the Butcher. He there's like a stretchy character, and he basically Doctor Dooms him from the first Fantastic Four movie. He freezes Reed Richards and captures him that way. And Billy Butcher does the same thing against this stretchy opponent and breaks his arm off. What's the kid's name? What's Homelander's kid's name? He splatters someone on the side of a building. I think we've seen that a little bit already. And then Huey goes to say like to beat the monsters, we got to start acting human, which is a different approach from what they took last season. Basically trying to act, not like act like them. I mean, there's probably I got to rewatch the season. Maybe there's a bit of that, but try to get on the even playing field with the powers and whatnot. But yeah, there's a killer flying lamb. That's what I was talking about earlier with the farm animals, and they're ripping people in half. And like I said, it's blood galore. Homelander's going crazy. Yeah. Oh, but seeing Kate and stuff and that one guy Sam, I hope we get to see who is the main character of Gen V. I'm blanking on their names, but I really like their characters and stuff. And that kind of sucks, Chance Perdomo passing away. I feel like his absence is really going to be felt this season, or not this season, but like going forward in how he was incorporated and stuff. So that really sucks. But yeah, the next trailer though is My Adventures with Superman season 2. This is minute 20. Let's see. Yeah, we get just more of a look. Yeah, like I said last week about My Adventures with Superman, I don't like all the decisions that they make like lore wise, and I'm not like too tied with the lore of Superman lore, so it's like I don't ultimately care. A bigger fan would care, I guess, but I just like the overall vibe of the show, so I'm just vibing with the story so far. So it's just like more of what made the first season good, like slice of life type of vibe. We get to see like I think this villain is Atomic Skull. I'm not really sure about his power set, but I think he was in Young Justice, so that's where I know him from. His design's cool. He's just like a kind of Ghost Rider type. Kind of reminds me like of Ghost Rider, but he's like nuclear type shit. Like kind of how like Sunspot is the Human Torch, but he's like solar energy kind of. That's what he kind of reminds me of. Atomic Skull, and then we might see some parademons. So fuck, if we see some parademons, that means we gonna see some. Oh yeah, we might see some fucking Darkseid soon. So in this Superman going against Darkseid, bro, that man might get wrecked. Like it's gonna be a bloody battle. So that's gonna be really interesting to see. There was also, I guess, maybe a look at what's his name? I'm not who's Steel. What's his name? Henry Irons, and so that's Steel, and like basically he's Superman in like an Iron Man suit type deal. Not necessarily. It's like a more cobbled together Iron Man suit, but in this, and like I said, like that's this I think goes in with like some of like the design choices and the story of the characters. He was like in some, and that does not say, he's in some type of like mech suit, and doesn't look like, compared to what he usually in, it just doesn't look. Yeah, and that's not to say like the suit could change and get streamlined, but it's just whatever. But I'm still down for the ride. And then there's a character talking about he's trying to take what's rightfully his and rebuild the Kryptonian Empire. And I think the last season ended off with Brainiac and Zod. And so I don't know if that's Zod or Brainiac or and then also we see Kara, and she was just hinted at in the teaser trailer, but we get to see a full, not like a full body look, but a better look at her. So yeah, just overall shaping up to be some good stuff. Yeah, excited. Let's see. So that drops when May 25th on Adult Swim, and then The Boys season 4 drops June 13th. So yeah, we got some shit for June, bro. We got also the next trailer is Star Wars The Acolyte is June 4th. So we got some shit lined up. This is a minute 50. So yeah, this is more showing, I guess, more story details and that I already kind of knew, but it's cool to see some visuals attached to them. So I don't have really anything super new to say about this trailer. We just get to see more of. I think the biggest thing, I guess, was like seeing this Sith. They have like this type of mask, and it kind of looks like a smiley face. Like I know it's probably not going to be that, but yeah, it looks like a creepy smiley face on the mask, like exposing the teeth or whatever. But that looks pretty cool. It reminds me of That's what it reminds me of. Fuck, what's his name? Not Deadshot. The Idris Elba's character in the Suicide Squad, in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. What was his name? No, Deadshot. No, I just said that. What was his Bloodsport? Right? Is it Bloodsport? No, I don't think it's Bloodsport either. I think that's that Vince Diesel character. Bloodshot? No. What's his name? Oh, it is Bloodsport. Okay, yeah. So Bloodsport. It reminds me of his helmet, which is really cool. I like his helmet a lot. Where was I watching this trailer at? Where I just pulled this trailer up at? Oh, it's right here. Stupid. But we get to see just more Daphne Kane's character, which is I'm interested to learn more about her. But we don't see anything just a whole lot new, but just get to see you guys more of a look at some more fighting, some more lightsaber action, which looks pretty decent, and then the look at this Sith character. This is I don't have too much. Like I said, I don't have too much to say, but again, pretty lukewarm on this is the Star Wars shows right now. I think that's what just came out. I need to check out. Tales of the Empire just came out, which is like the continuation of Tales of the Jedi, and so like kind of anthology series a little bit, just giving more context to different stories and whatnot. Tales of the Jedi really built upon one of my favorite characters, which is Count Dooku, and really expanded on Yaddle, which is she's briefly shown in the prequel trilogy, and I think maybe just only in a deleted scene. Gave some more context with Qui-Gon Jinn and, like I said, Count Dooku. So that was really cool. So it's just more of that with Tales of the Empire, and it was the really early days of the Empire and whatnot, and fleshing that out. And so that is something I am planning on to check out. Depending, we'll see what about a review, because I don't think there's anything next week. So maybe I'll be able to squeeze that in for next week. Yeah, but like I said, I don't really have anything too much new to say about this show. But like I said, I've been lukewarm on the Star Wars show. So, but this seems like something that will seemingly, for now, hold my attention. Yeah. So we'll see. So the final trailer is for Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. I didn't know anything really going into this movie, what it was about, like anything like that, and I still don't know what it's about. The trailer just has some pretty strong visuals, in my opinion, and then so this is like a purely passion project from Francis Ford Coppola, and apparently like this is self-funded or maybe investors and whatnot, but like this is from him. It's not like backed by a studio or anything. And it was a while to get this made, but he wrote on, it looks like Instagram, Megalopolis has always been a film dedicated to my dear wife Eleanor. Really had hoped to celebrate her birthday together this May 4th, but sadly that was not to be. So let me share with everyone a gift on her behalf. And so I guess he dropped the trailer. So this is like really a passion project. And then, like I said, I didn't know really anything about this movie. The reason it got on my radar is because the cast, and then obviously this trailer came out. But it literally just it starts out with Adam Driver on top of the Empire State Building, and just it looks like I thought he was like trying to commit suicide, but he seems to have this power to stop time, and he says time stop right before he falls off the building, and it stops time, and he like is able to lean back. And so again, I don't know what the fuck this movie is about, but it just seems interesting. And so all you gotta do is show me something interesting with a seemingly interesting premise, and I'm pretty locked on board. But let's look at the cast though. So we have Grace Vanderwall, don't know her. Shia LaBeouf's in this movie. Adam Driver, Natalie Emanuel. I think this is the girl from. Wait, hold on. I think this is the girl from Game of Thrones, but Zendaya, fucking Aubrey Plaza, Giancarlo Esposito, John Voight, Dustin Hoffman, Chloe Fineman, Sonia Amer, Talia Shire, Forrest Whitaker, Jason Schwartzman, Kate Blanchett, Lawrence Fishburne. What the fuck? I don't. Maybe all these people aren't in the movie, but it has a pretty fucking stellar cast. Jude Law, Michelle Pfeiffer, bro. That's not even like all the heavy hitters. Whoa. So yeah, it's just a really, really seemingly good cast, and so I don't know. I don't. Again, I don't have much to say about this, but I'm pretty locked in, and maybe I'll pull up a synopsis one of these episodes. But I'm trying to move the fuck on. So let's see. Let's see. So we have a couple. Hold on. Let's see. All right, we're gonna do a quick blitz through this news so we can get to the gaming and get to the review. The Rock was allegedly constantly 7 to 8 hours late to work on his new film Red One, which caused, and I think that's a movie with Ryan Reynolds, which caused a cost of around $50 million to the budget. People who previously worked with The Rock says he pees into water bottles to save time, which has upset crew members. So there's just a lot to unpack with this shit, but I don't know, bro. Bro, it just I don't even know what to say, bro, because there's just a lot going into this, and I honestly do not want to take the time to fucking talk about The Rock. But it's just, I think the main thing is funny here is he's constantly fucking late, and then he also is conscious enough to want to pee in a water bottle to save time. So it's like, which is it, buddy? Yeah, there's the Weekly Planet is probably gonna talk extensively about that next week, so I'm excited to hear them talk about that, but I honestly do not feel like talking about the fucking Rock right now. Godzilla Minus One director Takashi Yamazaki confirms that the black mark on Noriko's neck was Godzilla cells, aka G cells. So yeah, I barely know about G cells, but the first I got introduced to him was in Shin Godzilla. That movie like ended off with some possible human hybrid Godzilla monsters, and that involved like some G cells. But basically, as far as this character was thought to have died but didn't die, and it was speculated was that speculated was because of the G cells for like rapid healing or whatever. And that was the case. And so I think this is just like a pretty cool lore thing. This is probably won't get followed up on. Maybe not. Because the new Godzilla movies haven't really, and I'm talking about like the Toho ones, haven't really been getting sequels. They just kind of been one and done. And so I don't know, it's just a good piece of a nice piece of lore attached to that, and or I guess some confirmation too. And so but yeah, so then also with some Godzilla Minus One news, this a Twitter account that like posts a lot about Godzilla, they said, I'm very disappointed to inform you that within 2 days, 2 days of it being released in Japan, exclusively only in Japan, just within 2 days, Godzilla Minus One has become one of the most pirated movies of the year and is currently the most popular on pirate sites. And so this is the case because this movie got a very limited, and I will say extended, movie theatrical release, and then there was no way to watch it after the initial run. So some people didn't even get it into the theaters around them, and then two, it was nowhere on digital after the fact. So that was just, and there was some rumblings of this being the case because they didn't want to like take away attention from the new Godzilla movie that came out with King Kong and King Kong or whatever. I'm not really sure if anything concrete came out about that, so I'm not too sure about that. And so it just sucks. I mean, this is just a no-brainer. This would happen. Like this won a fucking Oscar, so it has fucking crazy amount of buzz and stuff. Instead of capitalizing on this, you just handicap yourself. Whether that's just streaming numbers wise or physical copies sales wise, like you just hinder yourself. And so it didn't capitalize on the on the great buzz surrounding this movie. And I don't know if that's from a distribution problem from on the Japanese side, if it was some rumblings with conflicts with the new Godzilla movie, I don't know. But it's just, whatever the case, they dropped the ball. And this, I guess, so the old original Godzilla movies, the old ones, it says someone said on Twitter the reason most Godzilla fans were able to watch the older films was through piracy, and so maybe that's from Toho didn't release some American versions, and so the American fans or people around not in Japan and stuff had to pirate those movies, and so this is just seems like a reoccurring problem with Godzilla. So with saying that out loud, it seems like maybe it is a Toho Japanese problem on their side and their distribution and whatever. So I know. I mean, this sucks. I mean, this should have definitely been handled better, to be honest. The next piece of news: Fallout. The Fallout series, the show that released on Amazon, which is pretty good. Go check it out. Had 65 million viewers in the first 16 days of release. The second most watched title ever on Prime Video. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, season 2 is already announced. So that this is one of the reasons why, or probably the reason why. This was pretty cool. The home media release version of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will include a version of the entire movie with the original footage of the actors in mocap suits. Again, when this is like promoting physical content and that's always good, and that's fucking dying right now, but it's good to see stuff like this. And I feel like we've definitely been missing stuff like DVD extras and other noteworthy behind the scene things like gag reels and bloopers and whatnot, and there's some rumblings of those here and there, but it's just not what it used to be, and seeing that type of stuff was always really, really fun. But I feel like this is also a homage to the original actors in suits and not being CGI mocap like it is now. But I know just stuff like this is just really cool, and I just felt like highlighting it on the pod. So yeah, the next piece of news is Sony Pictures and Apollo have made a $26 billion all cash offer to buy Paramount. This is just following up what I brought this up last week. Yeah, they just have like a bunch of Paramount has a bunch of stuff and IPs under the belt, and that all shouldn't go to Sony. So I mean, fuck, can't do anything about it. Like, if it happens, it happens. I guess we'll see if Sony cooks with the properties and runs them into the ground. But I feel like Paramount has been doing some good things with their IPs lately, so we'll see, I guess. I'm trying to get through it, and so we have this thing from Deadline's 2023 most valuable blockbusters and bombs tournament. And I think they just kind of been slowly releasing like an article a day or so. So not everything's out about this. So I might save this for next week for some more stuff to come out. So I'm gonna come back to that because I am trying to get through this, and we still got to review the challengers and don't want to have a super long episode. So we're gonna save that for maybe next week, and I'll make sure to try to remember to bring that back up because that is interesting. A bunch of numbers and overall profit for some of these big movies of last year, and how much some stuff lost, like The Flash and stuff, and how much millions of dollars that lost Warner Bros. And stuff like that. So yeah, I do want to talk about that, but just trying to get through. So we're going to move on, and we got some big Helldivers controversy. So moving on to the gaming side of things, the Helldivers Helldivers Sony controversy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have much new to add to this, or not even really anything new to add, but basically to break it down, if you're not privy to the situation already, so Helldivers is a live service game, which is Helldivers 2 is a live service game, which in the live service world is what was a anomaly the right word, but it's doing very well. And in live service game recently or in general have been looked down upon, like they're really just blatant ways to stretch out a game and get the most money from it, from the corporation perspective. But you do get genuine good games like here and there, and live Helldivers 2 is one of them. So this game quickly got a massive amount of attention in its release, and it was heralded and uplifted by the people who play live service games. And I don't usually play a lot of live service games, but I even hopped on. And then without beyond being it being a good live service game, it is just genuinely a good game. And so it's just that. And then, along with further contributing to the popularity of it was its the community building around the game, and how transparent the community developers and managers and whatever the case were with the game, and with updates and buffs and patches and nerfs and everything. And they just built a genuine community with it, with feeding into the memes and what's it called, what am I trying to say, like, and just feeding, like, just giving reason for the game to be live service, and giving it justification to have constant updates, and giving it justification to work in these ways that benefits the live service model. And they just really did a good job at fostering that. But anyways, like I said, it was a big hit right off the gate, and so the controversy stems from, so there's numerous games that require you to make a account with that respective publisher, I guess. So for instance, if you play on, and sometimes this is already, no, you definitely have to do this on console, right? Because I feel like it's sometimes already done. I don't know. But anyways, if you play on PC and you play GTA, and you're trying to play GTA Online, right? You can't just hop on online. You got to make a Rockstar account and maybe launch the game through their launcher. Not too sure about that, but you have to make a Rockstar account to play the game. And so this is the same thing for Ubisoft games. You try to play Rainbow Six Siege online, and you have to make a Ubisoft account. Same with Mortal Kombat. You got to make like a NetherRealm account or something, Warner Bros account, not sure, one of the two. And it's not anything new, and it's also been complained about before in the past. Like, this is not a new complaint that people have a problem with or anything like that. The problem comes from, like I said, Helldivers 2 was a massive hit, and so their servers were completely obliterated by the influx of players coming in and playing this game, and their servers just weren't ready for that. And so something to alleviate that problem, to starting out when the game first released, I think this game came out like 4 or 5 months ago. Sorry, gotta take a swig of water. They didn't require people to make a PSN account, and so they just let them go into the game if they like bought it on Steam or whatever. Didn't have to make a PSN account. But now, with them getting a handle of their servers and whatnot, whatever the case, they are now requiring players who didn't have to make a PSN account to make one. And so on the surface, that seems like, okay, that's not really a problem. Take a fucking couple minutes to make a PSN account. Boom, bada bing. It's still a scummy practice to begin with now. And then, you got people not wanting to do this because of recent hacks and breaches and there is a good documentation of, over the years of Sony getting hacked and user data being leaked and whatnot. And so, people are rightfully cautious. So now they're required to make a PSN account. And so, they're rightfully cautious in that sense. And so it's like, okay, you already put like a bunch, like fucking 40, 50 hours in. If you don't want to do that, just don't play the game, get a refund. But then, there's also a problem of Steam. You have to play, there's like a 2-hour limit on games to get a refund. And some people blew past that by a large margin. And so a problem arose. And so there's just, and so, yeah, the biggest problem though with, people having their problem with, their security and whatnot, the biggest problem out of this is PSN is not available in all countries. There's like a good, I'm probably getting the number wrong, but there's like a good amount of, it was like maybe like 100 countries, maybe like a good chunk of Africa and stuff, and doesn't have PSN support. And so, and I don't know the exact case on that, if it's like a licensing, I don't know. But they can't make a PSN account. And so now if they were to try to make a PSN account, they would get banned for violating PlayStation's terms of service. And it's just a whole thing of, and also like there's a whole review bombing went to Sony, and this could also be like a weird control thing that just Sony wants to buff their numbers too, or pad their numbers with this like account thing, and say like, oh, and they're actually PC players, but these players are in the a booster. They count as monthly players on the PSN accounts or whatever, and then you also get what also went into that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a whole thing. There's a video by, I think his name's like Some Ordinary Gamer on YouTube that like goes through this very well. But it just really sucks that a lot of people seem to be blaming. It seems so from what I was first seeing. Maybe not so much now, but a lot of people seem to be blaming Arrowhead, which are the developers, and which really sucks because they just went out, made a really good game, and all this other shit that's happening right now is just out of their control. This is all Sony bullshit, and so it's like it just really sucks because now their game's going to be negatively impacted. They did all this great community, like building up a strong community for all that goodwill to be thrown out the window because Sony wants to be a bunch of weird fucks. So yeah. And then like before this like news broke, I added some news to the list. Helldivers 2 continues to be the best-selling premium game in the US in 2024. The game is currently ranked 7 in lifetime dollar sales for Sony published titles after just 2 months since launch. So yeah, and so I think with the Steam stuff, when I said like there was only 2 hours a limit to like get a refund, they're issuing refunds to all the countries that don't have PSN available, or the people who don't want to log in. So that 2 hour window is being lifted. And then also like what goes in another problem with security that goes into this. Apparently in the UK, it requires their like ID to register for PSN. So like it's giving them information of like personal stuff, like, the shit that's on an ID that shouldn't need to be required by any fucking third party, people or whatever. So it's just like a lot of that goes into it, and it just sucks because Helldivers was like a genuine good game, and I dumped a bunch of hours like quickly into that, and I kind of just fell off. And it's not like I'm not gonna play, but before this broke, I just like it's with multiplayer games, like that's why I really don't play a lot of multiplayer games. Like it's just, especially live service games, like you gotta be tapped in at least a good amount of times a week, and so it's just like I don't really have time for that, or I don't really want to make the time for that. It's kind of preoccupied with other stuff. But yeah, with this, I feel like does this, I guess the rhetoric is like, does this game deserve to be boycotted? Because this is not an Arrowhead problem. Like, to boycott this game and to like, I guess, quote unquote, kill this game because of something out of their control is like really unfair to them. But then also, I feel like it's important to send a message to Sony like this shit is not okay. It just kind of sucks that like to probably get that message across, it's gonna come at the expense of possibly killing this game for Arrowhead. But I mean, also, I don't want to say it like that, but money's been made already. So it's like maybe that doesn't affect them as much as I'm thinking, but it's also a live service game, so maybe they had like a longer term plan, but I don't know. And then also like when I was watching Some Ordinary Gamer, that video, he like showed it, their player count didn't seem too affected by this, all this negative controversy. There's also like 100K like negative reviews on the Steam page for this game now. So, but it seemed like, I don't know. So I don't know how this will affect it, but just a shitty situation, honestly. Take-Two is shutting down Intercept Games. They worked on they were working on Kerbal Space Program 2 and Roll7, who did Roller Dome and Ollie World. This is a part of the massive like the 5%, I think, layoffs that I was talking about last week. And the company recently spent $460 million acquiring Gearbox. Just following up with more layoffs. Just wanted to highlight that. I think the biggest thing out of this on Ollie World is actually a really, really fun skateboarding game. And then I was really looking forward to Kerbal Space Program 2. And I was holding off to buying the first one. If you don't know what Kerbal Space Program is, it's like basically you play these little green guys and you try to send them to space, maybe the moon. But my friends showed me this game like when I was I was pretty young. It was some years ago, and I was just like always took an interest in it, and I just never had it. And I think it was only on PC for a bit, but it came to PlayStation. And then I was hearing some rumblings about Kerbal Space Program 2, and the game was like $40, and I was like, yeah, I'll just wait for the second one. Like, I'm not too pressed to play this game. And so I just been hearing this game like getting it might have got delayed and some more shit. So I was like, damn. But it apparently, so I thought it was canceled off this like out of this news, which I was pretty sad about. But apparently it's being shifted to a different someone else. Like they can still continue to work on it, so that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's not really about that. Sucks that people are getting laid off, especially if they work on like great things like Ollie World. Like that kind of sucks. Like I feel like that was a nice indie game. Was that considered an indie game? I'm not sure, but yeah, hope they land on their feet though. Let's see. So just like to still get quickly through it. There was a Sparking Zero trailer, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailer, aka Tenkaichi 4, that dropped called Master and Apprentice. More just gameplay on it. It's just continues to look fucking amazing. This was just about like you got matchups of Gohan and Kid Gohan and Piccolo, Yamcha and Roshi, Videl and Gohan, Future Gohan and Future Trunks, Beerus and Whis. So you get these pairings. We got to see some Beerus gameplay and some Whis gameplay. And Whis seems like, okay, I guess I wasn't planning to go like in depth on this, but I guess we are going a little in depth. I was just really interested in seeing Whis gameplay. He seems very he's a lot of counterattacks or a lot of moves that nullify supers. So he seems very evasive and shit, which makes sense for an angel. Like literally, Beerus sends a whole fucking planet destroying death ball, and like Whis just tanks it somehow. But yeah. I love seeing some Future Trunks gameplay. Love the way he's fighting with his sword. I love there's this different Future. If you don't know, Future Trunks is my favorite character, so might be manning him. We see some fire burning attack move. I hope it says that move is he does it pretty fast. I hope it's still the same vibe. But yeah, just Trunks, the shading, the like I think the visuals look so great. When they pop Super Saiyan, all the shits. And then I think one of the biggest takeaways though was, this was from, I guess this is what we saw from when I was talking about one-armed Future Gohan. I think this was from that, or this was gonna be from that. Not gonna be, but these were scans from this trailer that people got before this trailer dropped. But yeah, seeing just like his, it's a weird thing to say, but his like missing arm, like the flap of his shirt, that's where his arm's missing, has some good flap physics to it. But I love just Trunks fighting with his sword and shit. I think I said that already. But yeah, the biggest I think takeaway from me just fangirling about Future Trunks was the Sonic Sway. So I didn't know the official name for it, but basically it's just when in the old games, like a character could throw a flurry of punches at you and you'll just lock in, bro, and your character would. I'm not. There's definitely a way to trigger it, but I don't know how to trigger it, but your character will just go into like a Ultra Instincts mode and dodge all their hits, and it looks super slick. So they're bringing that back up. But then I saw like a comparison with it, like to the old version. I like how this new version like upgrades it a little bit. Not like upgrades it like it's stronger, but visually, like it creates motion blur from the character, and like there's like it just looks super slick the way they did it for this new gen. And so yeah. That is, I think, all of that on that. Yeah, so fucking super excited for this game. Oh, still no release date for this. They keep saying wishlist now, and so still no official release date. And then also, I guess, like, seeing these characters, so they got added to like the official roster honeycomb thing. And even with these characters being added, there's still a fat amount of space for characters to be added. So, that's interesting to see. One thing I just really hope they just bring team battles back. That's what I want. Team battles. Okay, so this is some interesting news right here. So reportedly, Hasbro is making a huge jump into video games. 4 internal AAA studios so far. Over 1 billion currently invested in their studios and games and development. So they have the sci-fi RPG Exodus from Archetype Entertainment, a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe game from Atomic Arcade Studios, Dungeons and Dragon game from Invoke Studios, horror game from Skeleton King Key developers, development. I don't know. It just says dev. Portfolio of games goes much larger than anything we're talking about right now. So all those games I listed, there's way more out there apparently. Their goal is to be authentic and focus on quality so players trust in the company. All companies say that, and it's not anything bad to say, but it just remains to be seen. Hasbro has a very deliberate plan to give their teams the time to get the games right. Everything's going to stay in the oven as long as it needs to. Leadership of Atomic Arcade worked on, so this is the people attached to the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe game. The leadership worked on Batman Arkham Asylum, and they're looking with Snake Eyes to do for that character something similar to what the Arkham games did with Batman. So this comes from an article, Games Industry Biz, so go check that out. All this sounds like great, and I really want to see what Hasbro ends up cooking. All this remains to be seen. Yes. But the biggest thing I took away from this is a fucking G.I. Joe Snake Eyes game in the style of Arkham Asylum. What? Brother, what? That is insane. Again, I said I'm not the biggest G.I. Joe fan, and that is true. But my favorite character in G.I. Joe, like Zeitgeist or whatever the universe, is Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, bro. Snake Eyes and Storm. Well, I don't know why I'm ass at pronouncing games this episode, but Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, bro. So I don't even what does that look like? Are we gonna get are they meaning some super linear detective vibes? I don't know if Snake Eyes is really a detective type beat, but I don't know. It doesn't necessarily be detective, but this more linear focused story. Do they mean combat wise, like Arkham? What does this entail, bro? So just this just bro. This just makes me excited as fuck. So I'm heavy eyes on this. Whatever comes out development wise of this game, before gets released, we're gonna be covering that. I'm really interested to see what they do with that. And so this is just really interesting news, and I guess we'll just see where this goes. I think there's in the article, I guess they already had their hand a little bit in games. I forgot what type of hand they had in with Baldur's Gate. I think maybe they just backed them, or were distributors or something with the Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, so that's really cool. So some quick comic stuff before we get into the challengers is so right now there's a Thor issue. So right now I'm shoddy on the details myself, so I'm having a tough time explaining what it is. But apparently in the comics there's this corporation called Roxxon. Think of them with Oscorp, Stark Industries, all the shit, but they're not good. They're a shady corporation, but they created a corporate version of Thor. So I don't know if it's a clone or a robot or someone just a superhuman just cosplaying as Thor, but they made a corporate version of Thor, and they bought all the merchandise rights for Thor, so they own the commercial side of Thor, which Thor is not a character to care about that, but maybe it's affecting. I'm not sure what the story's going on, but the gist is basically that corporate version of Thor is basically the quote unquote MCU version of Thor. So in the comics, Thor is still super grandiose, Norse, Shakespearean, and the MCU movies kind of just made him goofy and funny, a dude bro guy, which I don't think is necessarily bad, but that's not the character of Thor. I think it works for the MCU, but there's value in him being the dude bro funny type of comedic vibes, and there's value in him being the Shakespearean type of Norse vibe. And I'm saying that because I like both versions, to be honest, and so I don't. Maybe the Shakespearean is just I just don't have as much time. Actually, that's cap, because usually in all the adaptations, that's what Thor is. He's not the dude bro MCU vibe shit. So but it's like I said, it works for MCU. That's why I like it. But Yeah, so they're just making fun of the MCU Thor and just having some real, seemingly from the panels I've seen and whatnot, some funny meta commentary about that and whatnot. And so I'm gonna check that out eventually. I don't even know what run it is, to be honest. So my apologies. Bro, my mic knob things, it keeps moving, bro. Keep it tight. Keep it tight. Keep it tight. All right. But yeah, that's that on that. And so the main topic for this week is the challengers. Like I said, I took a bunch of notes. But I'm not gonna lie, I've been yapping for a while, so I'm not gonna rush this or anything. But we're gonna stay on topic, keep this concise, and get through it. But like I said, so the challengers. So this was a surprise hit for me. I was not expecting to like this movie as much. I went in with knowing pretty much nothing at all. So I would advise if you don't know anything really about this movie and you're kind of interested in seeing it, just go ahead and see it. Just go ahead and check it out. Take the risk. I say it's worth it. Of course, that doesn't mean you'll just guaranteed like it, but I feel like it's worth going into this movie remotely blind and not really knowing anything. But if you have seen this movie and you're just like waiting for spoilers, I would say stick around for we'll go non-spoilers and we'll go spoilers. But stick around for non-spoilers if you have seen this movie and just trying to hear me talk about spoilers, because you still get the general my general thoughts about this movie and whatnot. But yeah, so again, I went in with not knowing anything, and I was thoroughly surprised and thoroughly impressed. And this probably is one of my favorite movies of the year so far, honestly. Right now it's between I really liked Monkey Man, but I feel like right now it's just between this and Dune to be my favorite movies of the year so far. We're almost at the halfway point, but not quite there yet. So we will see. And there's still other movies I haven't seen that came out this year. So anyways, the synopsis on this. So what little I knew coming in this movie, I just thought Zendaya just had two gay boyfriends and she was like playing tennis. But it's not. It's a little bit more than that. It's a lot bit more than that, actually. So, she is a tennis player, yeah. But basically, this story follows kind of like a love triangle between these three characters, and I think that's like kind of like pretty much it. There's more that goes into it, but it's just this intricate love triangle, this back and forth. And the really like going into that is like going into spoilers, I feel like. But basically, like, these two guys, they fall in love with Zendaya and they kind of compete for her a little bit in a way. I feel like that's as much as I can give without spoiling it too much. But speaking about some numbers though, before I get back into the story, the budget for this movie was $55 million, so definitely on the lower end. And then it had a pretty good weekend opening. I think it was at 25 million worldwide. So if we're at 55 million, but you got a rule of not rule of thumb, but I think oversimplification of the movie math is to double the budget to account for marketing. So 55 million, we're at like 110 million. Yeah. So it needs about 110 million, over 110 million to break even and get into the green. So 125 million weekend worldwide is not too bad, but it's definitely gonna have to, and I feel like the word of mouth for this movie is definitely gonna help it a lot. And that's part of so I saw this movie like after I recorded my episode for last week. So this movie did come out last week, but I'm just talking about it this week and not just like saving it for the weekly watch list. Because like I said, this became like a surprise hit, and I really, 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 really liked it a lot. But yeah, like I said, numbers wise, it's gonna need to put in some legwork to break even and make some profit. I really hope this movie does, because I think it does deserve it. The director is Luca Guadagnino, and this was my first time learning about or hearing his name and director wise, and I really enjoyed the direction of this movie. Well, let's see some other stuff he's done. Call Me by Your Name, was that the one with Timothée Chalamet? Bones and All, this was also with Timothée Chalamet. I think this was when like it was the cannibal movie, like he was eating people or some shit. I wanted to check that movie out, but I just didn't end up doing it. But yeah, so I might check out some of his older movies. But I really love the direction from him in this movie. I watched a little bit of behind the scenes on this yesterday. Apparently, like he was just like really good at providing some human actions to the characters to make them feel to come across as more realistic. And I really really enjoy stuff like that, just like subtle stuff like little head nods or blinks or whatever the case, just the stuff that just like make you just and makes you just wrapped up in the narrative of it all. And that's what Zendaya was saying, like he brought to that as well, brought to the table. And then also just as well, so I don't watch a whole lot of sports movies, and I said this is a tennis movie, and this was definitely probably one of my favorite sports movies. I just really liked how this movie incorporated tennis into like the story, and not just beyond like it is some of this what I'm about to say is just beyond just like winning and losing. Like there's a lot more nuance in it than that, and I just feel like, a lot of sports that's missing from a lot of sports movies, because I just feel like this movie feels like not even a sports movie. It just feels like a really good movie that just happens to involve tennis. But yeah, I just love the ways that they incorporated tennis into. I took a bunch. Where's my phone? Incorporated a bunch of the game of tennis into the story and the way it portrayed things. And I'll get to more of that in spoilers and stuff. But what are some non-spoiler things? The three of the characters the names in the movie are Art. Art. I'm just trying to think of his like full name, because I don't think it's just Art. Is it Arthur? I don't know. But it's Art, Patrick, and Tashi. And I'm just gonna call it Tashi Zendaya. So yeah. I really like their chemistry together. All felt believable, and that was, of course they're all great actors. I think they all the performances in this movie are really really great in my opinion, very convincing. But as I say, like it comes because they're very good actors. But I feel like from the director, from what I've heard, and the things he like brought in, like the little moments of stuff making characters feel more human, I feel like he probably really really emphasized that for and that's why their chemistry feels so cohesive. This movie's actually like pretty funny. There was like a lot of natural comedic moments. Of course, there's some times where it tried to be funny, and it did not. Just not all comedy lands. But I really like the comedy in this movie. Skipping ahead a little bit, I really like the ending as well. I'll get to that in spoilers, but I feel like it all came together really well, and I really like the way this story unraveled. It kind of like makes quote unquote non-important things really important, from like the just tension it builds throughout the movie. So I really like that. It just made a simple match, without getting into spoilers, it made a simple match feel like a championship game type shit. So I really, really, really like that. Like I said, I like how the story unraveled, and I just really like how the tension built throughout the movie. Let me see some more. Oh, the score. The score was really, really good. They use kind of a more like techno beats type shit for the quote unquote action scenes, the scenes where they're playing tennis and stuff. And I really love the score for it. And then like there's this like piano. I was really having a hard time describing it, but like there's this piano like score, and it's the way I described it in my notes, it's like this curious score. And that's not a good descriptive for a piece of music at all. But it just did so good at building tension, and just like made you like really think about the moment you were in, and like when it was playing and stuff. And so yeah, it just made me very curious. Like I really like the story. Like I said, it has some plot predictability that does like go into ways that you predict, but then it also did a really good at throwing in some interesting twists. And so it wasn't all just straightforward, which if it was just straightforward, it wouldn't have been bad, because the rest of the movie, the way they're telling the narrative and stuff was interesting in itself. But with those twists, it kind of just put it on that peg above of just being like standard. So this movie has a lot of flashbacks and back and forth. It goes from like the past to the present a lot. But I think, and I feel so like I said, I saw this movie twice, and on the second viewing gives this movie a lot more it gives a lot more. There's this different light that you see this movie on in the second viewing. So I would definitely suggest a second viewing of this movie. But what was I saying? Fuck, I don't remember what I was saying. Fudge. What was I saying? Damn, maybe it'll come back to me. I'm kind of pissed that I lost that point, but like I said, I love the direction and shit, but specifically, I like how the conversations and dialogue scenes were shot. Like I feel like a lot of interesting angles and a lot of there's a common thing pointed on Twitter, like some of the conversations are shot like a actual tennis match, and like there's this cool back and forth, and seeing that out of context on Twitter, I saw like a scene and I was like, okay, I kind of get the vibe, but it just didn't fully come across because it's out of context. But then seeing it in context and the way that they do it, you definitely do get that vibe more. And I like some of I'll get to this more. It's not really a spoiler. I love some of like the continuity in scenes. Like, at one point, Patrick is talking to Zendaya's character and she slaps him and his cigarette flies out his mouth, and they continue to have their conversation for like, another like 2 minutes or so. And then after the conversation, Patrick, and this is not like a blink and you miss it moment, but he, Zendaya's character walks away and then he goes and picks up his cigarette. And I don't know, it's just little stuff like that just adds, a little bit more believability to the scene and whatnot. There's also some really solid one-shot takes that I'll get to more in spoilers, but it really paired with the score, it really roped you into the moment, and just the way that it showed the three characters and how it just went to one character to the next one. It just really helped you like rope you into the moment with them, and it really what would I put in my notes? The word it really just helps build like so much tension for that whatever scene it's setting up. It did a really good job at that. I don't know if there's more than the moment that I'm talking about, but yeah, I said that. So I said I really like how, and some of these I'll expand on more in spoilers, but I really like how tennis is incorporated and layered into the story. Like there is like tennis is a back and forth game. You're hitting a ball back and forth, and the crowd is looking back and forth as well. But the way that they use that to kind of craft an unspoken narrative, already for us, I guess, fortify the narrative that they already set up. It's like Zendaya's character will be watching the two characters go back and forth in their tennis match, and the crowd is tracking the ball with their eyes, but like Zendaya will be lingering on one character for a certain amount of time while all the rest of the crowd's going back and forth, and so it just kind of clues you into what she's like kind of thinking, or it clues you into like the gears turning into her head, turning her head. It was just a really good incorporation of that, and like there are other moments of that and different part of the story saying different things about the story as it's happening, but I just really like that. I really like same with the dialogue, like interesting dialogue, interesting shots during the dialogue. There's interesting shots being shot to capture the sport of tennis. Like there was there's a standard shot shown, like landscape mode. You're seeing both characters rally back and forth, and then there's switching, focusing on one player as they hit the ball and switching back and forth between them. Like there's a bunch of different ones. I just really like the variety of them, and there were some creative ones as well. Like focusing on a person's shadow as they're hitting and not necessarily the person. Like that was a creative one. This is not necessarily a creative one, but focusing on the judges and officials and the crowds, incorporating them into the moment as well. The use of slow motion and the grunts of the tennis players, like emphasizing racket noises, like the balls hitting the rackets or fucking people raging and hitting the rackets hitting the ground. A glass floor perspective that I thought was really interesting or creative, like it seeming like they were a shot looking upwards and like quote unquote a glass floor, like the characters are just you're seeing them play from the bottom up. And there's like a really, really good moment incorporated into like the main story on them utilizing on tennis that I can't really get into. I'll get into spoilers. That was really good. Like I said, second viewing gives this movie a whole new light. Get back to that more in spoilers. La la la. Oh, did I mention? I mentioned that there was a lot, quite a bit back and forth, like through the past and the present, and they do a really good job with their hair and their clothes to like convey when it is and what's happening when. And of course, there's like title cards and like, oh, this is when this is in this city and at this so and so date. There's that too, but I feel like their performances. I'll get to more in spoilers and who stands out in that change. But their characters act, they're youthful and vibrant in their younger years, and they just life just hit them in their older years, and they're a lot more. You just see that the toll that life took on them. Like I said, I like the score, and I like how like that curious piano piece I was talking about before. It like meshes with the techno music at some points, and it's a really good mesh. Really like Zendaya's character Tashi. Get to more of her in spoilers. Yeah, the love triangle, it was very. I really like this movie because there's a lot of nuance to this, and there's like I feel like quite a few ways to interpret different things. And there's definitely ways that like, oh no, this for sure meant that, but I feel like there's a lot of nuance and ways to interpret stuff, and so that's pretty cool. I really like the friendship between like Art and Patrick, the main two guys. Not like there is. I'll get to in spoilers, but for the most part, I like how their bro friendship and not like the other side. And not to say there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like that's not what I mean when I say I like their friendship. Yeah, I mean I think I said pretty much. I said quite a bit in non-spoilers. There's a Spider-Verse mention, and you hear it playing in the background. I guess that's kind of a spoiler. But yeah, that was pretty funny. Like I said, I think this movie just all came together for me in all the right places in the way and the things like I enjoy movies. Like had a strong score, had strong performances, had strong visuals, and had good quote unquote like action. Like the sports scenes weren't just like cookie cutter sports scenes. They really added really a lot to this movie in the way that they were shot and whatnot. And I think all those things like I said, all the things I like about movies really came together for me in this movie. So it was really a surprise hit. And we're gonna get into, before I get into spoilers, just give my rating. Like I said, this is one of my favorite movies of the year so far, and I'm at like a 9.5 on it. Not gonna lie to you. I think I didn't really talk about the problems. I guess some problems I have is maybe some of the flashback stuff gets a little like not convoluted. That's not the word. Confusing per se. If you're maybe I checked out for a couple seconds and just missed a transition, but maybe I just feel like yeah. So that could be a problem, maybe not. And then also I feel like some of the characters' actions felt there was a little bit I feel like a little bit of suspension of disbelief on some of it, on the way the characters were acting, but I feel like it's not hard to take that suspension of disbelief with how the characters are. Just the rest of the story, it's not hard to make that leap. I feel like if the story was worse, it would have been like, it would have been a bigger point of contention, if that's the right word. But I feel like for the most part, it's easy to make that leap of suspension of disbelief. But yeah, maybe it could be a bigger problem to someone else. But there's probably some more problems I'm overlooking. But yeah. After watching it 2 times, I think those are the only things I really came away with. And probably, other people will point out something a problem I do agree with, but it might not affect my rating at all, which unless it's just like some glaring issue. But yeah, I'm sitting at like a 9.5 right now, to be honest. But yeah, let's just head on to spoilers. I didn't say how horny this movie is. This movie is definitely super horny. I should have probably said that in the non-spoilers. But I really like the ending of this movie so much. The way just so if you aren't privy to so I guess I can go more of the narrative and spoilers if you haven't seen the movie for whatever reason you're still listening. Tashi and Art and Patrick, Patrick and Art like each other a lot, or those two like Tashi, Zendaya's character, a lot, and so they kind of just have this friendly banter back and forth like over her, and they get into like this weird situation with her, and she like makes them kiss each other and whatnot. Yeah, it's like it's there's a lot that goes into it. I took a lot of notes, but I don't even really feel like getting into all of them because it's quite a bit. But I just really like how they make the callback of Tashi. What's it called? They make the callback of how Art. So they play a tennis match, and Art and Patrick ends up beating the tennis match, and at the stakes for that tennis match is getting Tashi's number and ending up dating her pretty much. And so Patrick wins that, and to Art is still obviously likes her a lot, and so he's like trying to get information about the relationship, and just like, oh, he's like, oh, did you guys have sex yet? Da 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 da. And then he's like, I'm not gonna tell you and shit. And so Art kind of like tells him to serve the tennis ball, like they're practicing, serve the tennis ball in the way that he serves it and the way that Art serves it, without verbally telling that Patrick slept with Zendaya's character, and like do this action to confirm it. And so Patrick does the serve and he does the action to confirm it, and then that's like a little moment between them, and then that's brought back at the end of the movie when so Art ends up doing some snake shit to Patrick, and he kind of takes Zendaya's side. Zendaya gets injured, and it's just so much that goes into this movie, like Zendaya living through Art, like her career through Art, and she only likes Art because he'll do what she says, and he understands what it means to be a tennis player, and he understands like the dance of it all, but he doesn't have like the drive like Zendaya to want to be the very, very best. And so like she doesn't respect him in that sense, and she doesn't respect him in the sense of like he just does whatever she says and stuff. But Patrick, I feel like they're more compatible, but he doesn't understand the game of tennis like Art does. And so I feel like they both have qualities that she likes a lot, but like they don't have what and I don't think she says that she loves either of them at all during this movie. And they both say it to her numerous times, I believe. And she really just says she loves tennis, and that's her thing. And like, I don't even know if she could be loved properly. So she can't even really be loved without the game of tennis. Like Art's value, if he retires, like damn near, that's like, she kind of insinuates that's like she says otherwise, but she kind of insinuates like that's the value that she has to him. Like once he retires, like, I don't know, it doesn't really feel like there's going to be anything left there. Like she literally doesn't have sex with Patrick when they're younger because he kind of sucks, and he's not taking her advice, and they're about to fuck, and she's trying to give him advice on his tennis game while they're trying to get intimate. And he's like, can you just stop talking about tennis for a second? She's like, no, not really. She was like, we're not talking about tennis, like what is there to talk about type shit. And so like she kind of, that turns into a whole different thing. And so it's like, she really can't form a meaningful relationship without tennis involved. And she kind of said that at the beginning. She was like, and Art was the only one to catch this. And so early on, she has a tennis match, and she lets out like this primordial scream, like a scream of just letting out straight excitement. She like won her match or whatever, and Art points that out, and he's like, I never heard you scream like that or whatever. And and while this conversation's happening between the three of them, like they're by some water and stuff, the score is going on. That's like the curious piano score, like that's going on, and that's like hitting hard. But you just get like these inner workings of the character, and during this like moment, and there's a couple moments like this that really clues you into the characters and whatever and whatnot. But what was I saying? It really oh yeah, like Art, like Patrick makes this face when Art brings it up, like, damn, you caught that? Like he didn't catch it. But anyways, like when Art is talking about this Zendaya scream, she doesn't, that's not really brought up throughout the movie, but she lets out another scream like that at the end of the movie when Art and Patrick lock into their game and they actually deliver some good tennis. And so like that kind of clues you into like, damn, she's at like she's loving what that obviously means she's loving what she's seeing, but like that like kind of, there's a through line there, like how that scream related at the start, like she was saying like they were locked into a perfect like dance and they understood each other completely. Like she didn't, like they all understood each other completely when they were playing tennis. And like I don't know, I really like how that's just, and I probably didn't explain that like completely like thoroughly, but there's just a through line with tennis, like bringing out the best in all of them, and how they're all codependent on something. Like Patrick is codependent on either playing with Art or playing with Zendaya's character. Like he's at his best when he's playing with Art or playing against Art. Like when he separates from Art and does his own thing, like he doesn't go far in his career. Like he's pretty bottom of the barrel. But when he was at Art, he was thriving. When he tries to pair with Zendaya, like he's trying to like be the best. And so it's just I really love all the things, all the nuance, all the themes that went into this movie. It's kind of did end up writing a lot, but I've been yapping for a minute, so I kind of don't even want to like fully go into it. And maybe I will. I'll probably honestly like I don't even want these notes to go to waste. And maybe I'll make a video on this and just maybe I'll make a videos of my favorite movies of the year and really just diving deep into them. And this will be one of them. Let me just see some other stuff. Like how, or I guess I'll go through this, like how tennis is incorporated into the story. So I was talking about the rally back and forth, like Zendaya following and stuff. And like, I like how this is incorporated with Patrick and Art seeing Zendaya's character play for the first time. How they're trying to watch the rally and the crowd's going back and forth. Or in this moment, what's funny because like before this, like no, that's a different moment. But the crowd's like going back and forth or whatever, watching Tashi like play this person, and she like Art and Patrick are like kind of they're watching it, but they're lingering on Tashi, and that's like basically like saying like they're so interested in Tashi, like they're barely watching the rally. And this I didn't explain that really well either, but if you saw the movie, you understand what I mean. And just like just Tashi's Zendaya's character, just her performance in this is really great. Zendaya is super solid in this movie. The silent narrative the silent narrative she makes with her expressions and stuff, it's all super solid. That's a big fucking dog. Jesus. There's little stuff like the character that she goes against, that Tashi goes against Zendaya's character, where she injures herself and like ends her career. The character she goes against ends up being like a big star and pretty uncontested star, they say. So it's like if Tashi was still playing Zendaya's character, if she was still playing, she would have been, able to contest that character. I don't know. It was just little stuff like that. That was interesting. She also, with what I noticed when when Zendaya's characters together with Art in their older years, she has this like vacant like stare. Like she's not really like there present in their relationship. Like I feel like it just feels like she's there with Art to check boxes and live through him, and like how he plays tennis and whatnot, and how he's willing to let her be overbearing and let him control his training and stuff like that. I really like that, and just like how Patrick was like, he's not gonna let her do that, and just like that's why they weren't compatible and together and shit. And like with the scene that's like the notorious triple makeout scene with all three of the characters, like they're all like that scene in itself, like there's a lot that goes into like the way it's set up and everything, and like the way the tension in that scene is really great as well. And so the way that she when she makes them all start, like when she makes them both make out with each other, she just tells them to stop, and they stop instantly. And like that, she's like just seems turned on for them just doing what she says, and like she just has like this, and that's why like this movie ends pretty ambiguously. Like it doesn't show who won. It doesn't show like who Zendaya ends up picking. It doesn't show anything like that. And I think I like how it ended, like in that open-ended way. I like also like about Zendaya's character. She doesn't see herself just strictly through tennis. Like she wants to go get an education. I feel like that was a nice point of difference from Patrick's character, where he just wanted to play tennis to avoid going to school and avoid getting a proper job and whatnot. It's just a lot of goes in this movie, bro. I'm kind of tired of talking about it. No cap. Not in a bad way, bro. It's just maybe these shows are long as shit, but there's a lot to yap about, man. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. I don't really have anything too much else to say there. I mean, I do have quite a bit to say, but oh Oh yeah, like no one in this movie is really a good person per se. The only one that's relatively normal, I feel like, is Patrick. Like Art from the very get go, it like tries to do some snake shit and like he plants seeds in Zendaya's head that like Art doesn't or Patrick doesn't really love her, and then he plants seeds in Patrick's head that Zendaya doesn't really love him, and tries to break him up that way, and then he sides with Tashi when he tells him to get out the room, and that like is the main point and tipping point in their relationship as friends. And so that like and then I feel like all the stuff Patrick does, and then Zendaya literally hooks up with Art after she's married, or hooks up with Patrick after she's married with Art, and they literally talk about the ring that his dead mother gave her, and they end up making out over that. And so that's like scumbaggery, and she cheats on Art twice basically with Patrick. And so it's like I feel like, and then Patrick at that point doesn't owe Art any loyalty. Like he literally stole his girlfriend and like cut all communication off with them. Like, okay, like he doesn't really, after that point, like it's free game. If he wants to try to get his girl back, then he could try to get his girl back. Like the only bad thing Patrick did was maybe fucking cosplaying as a broke person when his parents are rich as fuck. I feel like that's the only thing. I really like that Art is the better tennis player than Patrick, but Patrick just knows too much about Art and can beat him. And Art isn't. That's not to say Patrick isn't good at tennis, but but Art is just better. And I like how like Patrick is pretty nonchalant and pretty like easygoing about Art trying to steal his girlfriend, and then just Art just turns it into something serious as fuck. And then the way that they kind of come together again is kind of being being playful about Zendaya and who she's gonna pick between the two, and that's where like that spark and that friendship, not like blossom, but like that was like it was a playful thing that turned serious as they got older, and then it went back to that playful thing, and that's where they reignited their friendship. I really like that a lot, and I really like how the movie like ended with them falling, and they ended up hugging it out, and then like. That was when they were the happiest, is when they were together. And then like Zendaya was excluded from that moment, but she was just as happy that she got to see some good tennis. And that just, I think, feeds into her character just wanting to just being so self-centered about tennis. And it's just like, it plays with this idea. It's just like, damn, do Art and Patrick really like each other? And like, there's just little moments of intimacy, like where it's like, okay, that was kind of, is that your boy? Is that your boy? You feel me? Yeah, so there's just kind of moments of that, but it's just kind of, this movie doesn't really expand upon that. And I kind of like that they just didn't really make that a big deal. That was kind of just like I don't know. That's kind of hard to explain. Like they highlighted it, but they didn't really highlight it. And just like they were, like I put in my notes, they were just always at their best when they were around each other. I like how Zendaya said she didn't want to be a homewrecker, but then ended up being a homewrecker. I mentioned this before, but I really like how this story unravels and the way the tension builds. But just like every conversation, every match, everything that goes into building tension for this final match. And just by the end of it, and like when you get to that final match, like all that tension that built throughout the whole movie, like you feel like you just feel all of it. And it's a really, really good feeling. Just you can cut that tension with a knife, and just like everything built to that, everything, and just the way that like it slowly trickled down to each time you revisit the final match, because it cuts between the past and the final match multiple times. Every time you revisit that final match, you get a little bit more context, and you get a little bit more tension building, and just by the end of it, it just all rises, and it all just like pays off, and I feel like in a really satisfying way. And I think I really like the ending a lot, because it does end like kind of open-ended, but it gave you enough where it felt like, okay, like, it's not like too much of a head scratcher to think about the ending, but it's like, it feels good to think about where the ending went. That's kind of maybe a no point yap, but yeah. And like, questions arise, like, does she love older Art, like the older version of Art, or does she just love tennis and just stuff like that? I just love the nuance and the non-black and white of it all. But yeah, we're gonna move on just so we can get to the weekly watch list and so we can end this motherfucking show, man. But I really, really liked Challengers. Go check it out. Even if you did listen to the spoilers, you know, I didn't do some of the descriptions of some of those moments justice. I feel like it's still worth seeing in theaters for sure. Yeah, honestly, I just really want to see this movie do well. So maybe I'll chuck this review, depending on how long it was and how much I can edit to or whatever. Maybe I'll check this up on the main channel because I want to see this movie do well. But yeah, that's that on that. Let's move on to the weekly watch list so we can move on in this motherfucking episode, boy. So actually, I think I'm thinking, so it's like music is not really the highlight of this show at all. I'm still gonna talk about it for sure. It's not the highlight at all. So in the weekly watch list, just to keep things on topic, I'm gonna keep music like to the end. So it's like for the people who want to dip out, don't have to sit through me to talk about music. But I checked out, I watched it with my girl. I watched Anyone But You with, what is her name? Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. It's like this love movie. This couple like pretends to want to be together or something. I would say at the very least, I didn't hate it. I thought I was gonna dislike it in general. Like this was just one of those movies that I had to watch with my girl that she picked. So yeah, I mean, I guess I could say I didn't hate it. Oh, also, my girl picked Challengers too, so that was a surprise to me. I wasn't really. That's why another reason I wasn't going in with like the highest expectations, and not to say like she strictly picks bad stuff, but just like, okay, just gonna watch a chick flick with my girl. Not too much. Didn't think too much of it, but ended up really liking it a lot. Let's see. I still got to check out that Spider-Man horror short fan film, The Spider, starring The Walking Dead star Chandler Riggs, who played Carl. So still got to check that out, and that's only a couple minutes. So I'm gonna get on that. Keep forgetting to bring it up, but I was playing Dave the Diver, and maybe I did bring it up, so I'll skip that. But it's a pretty good game. I was listening to some old Weekly Planet episodes, and Mr. Sunday Movies mentioned a podcast with his wife. She made a podcast called it's old. I don't think they do it anymore. It's called Just Make the Thing. And he was just talking about early days. Like he only had it's like 700,000 subscribers back then. This was like 2017. He's just talking about the process of him going through and making YouTube stuff, and, kind of inspired me and invigorated me to keep on going, so that was a good listen. It's called Just Make the Thing, and then like find the Mr. Sunday Movies episode if you're interested in that. Something that I always forget to bring up, but I just been watching and enjoy a lot is Abbott Elementary. I never really talk about this, but this is, every time it comes on, I love every episode. Modern day Office, Parks and Rec, like it's the modern day version of that, and I think it is a phenomenal show. I think the episode that just released was one of my favorites of the series. There's 3 seasons in, which feels like, damn, what the fuck? Doesn't even feel like the show has been on for a while, but there's this really fun will they won't they relationship on some Jim and Pam shit, and from The Office, and it's really, really this, like, and seeing that like in real time, like will they won't they, is so fun. Just like just like you just want to shake them and like, bro, just be with them. But for this show to last for a while, there's gonna be, it took a while for Pam and Jim to get together, so it's gonna be a while till they get to that. But yeah, it's really fun just experiences this in real time. This, I feel like this would have been what it felt like to experience The Office when it was airing. And so this is my Office. I really love The Office. That's one of my favorite shows. And so I picked up a new show. I left it at, actually I left it at my girl's house. I picked up a new She-Hulk comic. It was She-Hulk, and she's on the cover with Doctor Doom. I picked it up for $38, bro. And then I looked up on Marvel Unlimited, which I pay for like maybe like $11 a month. And it was on there, right? And so that just goes, I think, made me think, and this comic it's her 2014-2015 run, and I'm really liking it a lot. But this comic, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, it was like $38, but this on fucking Marvel Unlimited. And so it's like, damn, I could have just read it on Marvel Unlimited for quote unquote free. And it's just like kind of begs the question, like, how profitable are comics? And there are probably some numbers out there. I'll probably try to track down some videos doing this, but it's just like, damn, pay $38 or literally pay quote unquote $11 for it, and I get to read a bunch of other things. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem very beneficial to like the comic industry, and that like kind of just goes into like why comics aren't as fucking big as manga and stuff. And like I kind of been wanting to make a video on that, and there's probably a good video on that already. So if there is, and if it's fairly new, I won't make a video. But it's just like manga, and there's a cultural thing. Like this manga is so much bigger than comics over in America. It's so crazy, and there's a couple factors that go into that. But yeah. I did not want this episode to be as long as last week, but this ended up being a pretty long episode, so I apologize. And so, with that being said, usually I go into pondering my orb section, but the last couple of weeks I haven't really been thinking about it a lot. I just been locking in, and if you are new here, pondering my orb, I just talk about gearing up for the work week and getting in the right mindset and whatnot. But I really haven't been thinking about that too much, so just lock in, bro. So what I been doing is lock in, brother. So that's that on that. As we close out, so follow me follow the socials. I was talking about some TikTok earlier and whatnot, so that's been doing well. Been getting some good traction over on the TikTok side of things and the YouTube short side, so go follow my socials. TikTok is What Did I Miss podcast. The link will be down below. Follow my Twitter, the What Did I Miss podcast on Twitter for updates. Like if I'm fucking sick and can't do the show, my mic breaks like 2 weeks ago. That happened and I missed the show. I try not to miss the shows, but there'll be updates there if I'm gonna go see a certain movie that week. Like we'll put that up there if you want to go check out that movie for the review for the week. Different things like that. So go check out the socials, links down below. And my main ones is at DS2Smooth on Instagram and Twitter. Mostly active on Twitter. Pretty active on there. So just come tap in with me there. That is that. Yeah. Besides the main YouTube channel at DS2Smooth. Oh yeah, I'm dropping the Spider-Man video, my Ultimate Spider-Man video this week. So should have probably said that up top because the chances of people sticking around this long and listening are slimmer than saying that earlier. So yeah, if you've been staying around this long, I'm gonna finish that Spider-Man video. Probably I said it was gonna be done this week, but it's literally in the final stages. Got to do some final touch-ups, but this podcast just takes priority, so I'm gonna have to just dump my remaining time for this Sunday day into editing this podcast and getting the clips together to make throughout the week. And so it is gonna release sometime next week. It's literally in the finishing stages. Made the thumbnail already. Just have to do this one part of this video. It's not like super time. It is kind of time consuming, but it's the last part of the video. So yeah, I'm sad about that. Been working on that video for a while, and then get to move on to make other stuff. And so yeah, that's it for this week. Next week, like I said, there probably isn't anything I want to see at the theater. So we'll probably be a topic episode. Maybe talk about the Raimi trilogy. The Amazing Spider-Man movies are coming out next week. So are re-releasing. So gonna go see those. So maybe do that topic video. Follow me on Twitter or follow the podcast on Twitter to get an update on what that will be. I don't think there's anything coming out. X-Men 97 wraps up soon, and we have Furiosa at the end of this month. So that's something coming up. So X-Men 97's wrapping up. So we're gonna review that, and I think that's the only thing week to week thing. And I'm probably gonna start reviewing Abbott Elementary. So whenever that wraps up. So that's that on that. I will catch you guys next week. Everyone have a good week. Tschüss.